The silence felt heavier tonight, like it wanted to say something. The hum of the mansion's automated vents rolled through the dim hallways, warm air brushing along the polished carbon glass floors. Lights glowed in soft amber, their reflections rippling like trapped suns beneath each step. Outside, a cold blue dusk pressed against the windows, making the entire estate feel suspended between breath and heartbeat. Aaron Vale stood by the nursery door, one hand pressed to the dark mahogany frame. His breathing was steady, but only because he forced it to be. He'd built ships that slipped between planets, engines that roared like metal storms, yet nothing he'd created had undone the truth sitting on the other side of that door. His son, Leo, had never heard a sound. Aaron tightened his jaw. I can build a voice for a star, he thought, but I can't give one to my own child? The thought landed like a bruise. He inhaled as the vents shifted tone, a low whistle sliding through the hall as though disagreeing with him. Down the corridor, footsteps approached, light, measured, padded by worn soles. Mira, the night maid, moved with a rhythm that always unsettled him, too quiet, too aware of the world around her. She carried a small cloth bundle pressed to her chest, and the soft rustle of the fabric seemed impossibly loud in the otherwise muted hall. She paused when their eyes met. A flicker worry? Guilt? Crossed her face before smoothing away. "You're here early," Aaron said, his voice low, roughened by exhaustion. Mira nodded. "I heard he wasn't sleeping." "He never sleeps," Aaron replied. "Not truly. He dreams with his eyes open. Maybe silence changes the rules." She shifted the bundle slightly. A faint metallic clink whispered from inside. Aaron's brow creased. "What's that?" Her fingers tightened around the cloth. "Something I found. If you have another datas." The vents sighed again, colder this time, as if the house was listening. Aaron motioned toward the nursery. "Come in with me." Inside, the room opened like a dust-colored dream. Soft gray walls rippled with holographic galaxies drifting in slow spirals. A mobile of tiny silver spacecraft spun above the crib, making faint tinking sounds as they touched sounds Leo never reacted to. Aaron hated that tiny symphony. Leo lay curled beneath a moon-patterned blanket, his small chest rising and falling steadily. His eyes were open, as always, watching the shifting constellations. Aaron moved closer, the floor giving a low, wooden groan beneath his weight, a sound normally forgotten, yet tonight sharp enough to feel like a question. Mira stood at the foot of the crib. Her breath quickened, almost imperceptibly, but Aaron heard it ripple through the quiet. He whispered, "Show me." She hesitated. The cloth bundle trembled slightly, catching the faint nursery light. Aaron wasn't sure whether it was the weight of the object or the weight of her fear. Then she unwrapped it. A small device, thin, silver, seamless, slid into view. It was no bigger than Aaron's palm, but the shape rang in his memory like a bell struck deep underwater. He stepped back. "Where did you get that?" "Maybe." Mira swallowed. "It was in Leo's room. Under his pillow." Under his pillow. Aaron's heartbeat pulsed in his ears. He reached out, but stopped short of touching the thing, his hand suspended in the air as though the device radiated heat. "That's not mine." "I know," Mira said gently. "That's why I brought it to you." Leo shifted, his tiny fingers curling as he looked toward the two adults, but without recognition of sound, without the instinctive turn toward a voice. Only the motion caught his attention. Aaron crouched beside the crib. His voice cracked on the way out. "Hey, little star." He brushed a finger across his son's hand. "I'll fix this. I swear." "Maybe." Leo grasped the finger with both hands, holding it with inexplicable strength. Aaron's breath caught. "He trusts me." The realization landed like an anchor on his chest. Behind him, Mira exhaled shakily. "Mr. Vale, there's more." Of course there was. Nothing in his life broke cleanly. He stood again, facing her. "Say it." S. 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 She looked toward the windows, where a faint tapping like rain, but not pattered against the glass. It came in uneven beats, mechanical in rhythm, as though something outside was testing the surface. The sound slid under Aaron's skin. "I think someone was in the room," Mira whispered. Aaron felt his shoulders stiffen. When? I don't know. Maybe last night. Maybe earlier. As problem ansi rieris. Ar do this. The tapping at the window stopped. The vents shifted, humming a deeper tone, and something in the walls clicked once. Sharp, metallic. Aaron moved instinctively, stepping between Mira and the sound. His pulse hammered, but his voice stayed steady. You need to tell me everything you saw. Mira shook her head. I didn't see anything. That's what scares me. But I found footprints in the dust panel by the crib, small, precise, not a child's, not mine. The clicking in the wall came again, closer this time. Aaron's eyes narrowed. Someone tampered with my son? Or they tried, she whispered. He reached for the silver device, gripping it carefully. It was warm, too warm for something that had been wrapped in cloth. As he lifted it, Leo suddenly blinked and reached out, small fingers stretching toward the object with surprising urgency. The lights flickered. A soft thrumming like a distant engine idling filled the nursery. Aaron froze. Mira's breath caught. Leo stared at the device with an expression Aaron had never seen in him before. Recognition. Aaron's mind spiraled. Has he seen this before? Has someone been? Then the device vibrated. Just once. Aaron nearly dropped it. Mira flinched. The hum in the walls shifted again, and somewhere far below, perhaps in the sublevels where robotics and climate engines lived unseen, something answered with a faint, echoing tick. This isn't one of mine, Aaron said quietly. It's built with alloys I don't use, circuits too dense. And it's resonating with something. Leo reached again, more insistently. Aaron stepped back. No. Not until I know what it is. No, Mira whispered. What if it's the reason he can't hear? Aaron looked at her sharply. You think someone did this to him? I think, she said carefully, that something was left with him, or placed near him. Maybe before he was even brought home. Diaz. The tapping at the window resumed, but this time from the inside, as if something traced the glass rather than struck it. Aaron turned slowly. Nothing moved beyond the pane, but the deepening night and the low fog hugging the grounds. But something else was there, a faint distortion in the reflection, like a shadow out of sync with the rest of the room. A second too late. A beat delayed. Watching. Aaron tightened his grip on the device. His single line of internal thought cut through the rising storm. Whatever this is, it was never meant for a child. He stepped toward the window. The distortion stilled. Mira whispered, Sir, maybe we should leave the room. I'm not afraid, he said, but his heartbeat wasn't steady anymore. It thudded in a staccato rhythm, fear in a metallic casing. The device pulsed again. Leo blinked, and for a moment, Aaron thought he saw something shimmer inside his son's pupils, like a faint silver ring, expanding and collapsing. Mira gasped softly. Did you see? Yes, Aaron said, voice sharp. Take a step back. The nursery mobile creaked overhead. One of the silver ships turned slowly, then faster, spinning as though pulled by an unseen force. The tiny metal hull scraped the neighboring piece, making a thin ringing sound. A sound Leo still didn't turn toward, but his eyes followed the motion with uncanny focus. Aaron felt the temperature in the room drop. The vents hissed in protest. A chill wrapped around his spine. Mira's voice shook. Sir! The device. Something's activating. The silver surface rippled, microscopic circuits glowing from within, threading like veins of light. Aaron's breath caught. No, 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 no. The glow brightened. Leo sat up. He didn't look distressed. He looked curious. Aaron felt the world close between heartbeats. And then, a sound pierced the room. A tiny sound. Barely more than a whisper. Leo's head snapped toward it. Mira slapped a hand over her mouth. Aaron nearly dropped the device. He heard that. Eternified servants is all, you so. Leo's eyes shone, not silver, not glowing, but alive in a way Aaron had never seen, filled with wonder and confusion. The sound came again, a soft ping from the device. Leo reached toward his father's hand, toward the source. Aaron stared at his son, breath-breaking. Leo, you heard that? Leo blinked twice, his version of yes. Aaron's body threatened to collapse under the weight of the moment. Mira, he heard it, but the triumph froze in his throat when the lights flickered again, this time not from instability, but from synchronization. Like the house itself was responding. A low tremor ran beneath the floorboards. Mira stepped closer to Aaron. Someone is still here. In section the first. I warned you for the face. I warned you for... The device pulsed a third time. The glass window fogged from the outside, a handprint forming slowly, fingers too long, palm too narrow, dragging down the pane with deliberate slowness. Aaron's breath stopped. Mira whispered, "Sir, that's not human." Leo stared at the window, eyes wide. The handprint lingered in the fog, a silent mark, a warning, or perhaps a claim. Aaron held the device close to his chest. His voice was barely a whisper. They didn't come to silence him. Another pulse. The handprint vanished. They came to wake him. And the storm, whatever storm this was, had only just started. But the night wasn't done changing yet. Something was wrong with the way the air moved. And that's so. Thanks for watching. The moment the handprint faded from the glass, the nursery fell into a stillness so sharp it sliced straight through Aaron's nerves. The vents stopped humming. The subtle drone of the house's automated systems died mid-breath. Even the mobile above the crib slowed, its last rotation creaking to a halt. Silence pressed inward, heavy, watchful, conscious. Aaron steadied himself, shifting Leo into one arm while gripping the silver device in the other. Leo's small fingers clung to the collar of his father's shirt, warm and trembling. His breaths came shallow and fast, yet his eyes stayed fixed on the window as if some invisible thread pulled them there. Mira edged backward until her spine touched the wall. The faint rustle of her blouse sounded too loud in the charged quiet. "Sir," she whispered, "we need to leave this room." Aaron didn't answer immediately. Something inside the walls ticked again, softer this time, more cautious, like whatever had been there was stepping back. But he knew better than to assume retreat meant safety. It often meant calculation. He inhaled slowly. Keep him safe. Whatever it takes. Leo buried his face against his father's shoulder, and Aaron felt the tiny flutter of his heartbeat, quick, bird-like, afraid. It almost broke him. He turned toward the door. "Stay close. He's botnings." The moment he stepped into the hall, the house exhaled, lights dimming, temperature dropping, shadows deepening, like the mansion itself had shifted into a different mode. Not the comfort of home. Something older. Something alert. Mira followed, hugging her arms around herself. "Mr. Vale, what happened in there? That handprint." "My Nacy." Even Dodby her. "My Nacy. One her inside." "It wasn't a handprint," he said. "Not from anything I recognize." Aaron's mind raced. The shape, the length, the precision of its movement. It was deliberate, but not familiar. Not from any species or prototype catalogued in the research sectors he oversaw. That alone sent a cold blade of dread through him. Leo whimpered softly. Aaron held him closer. "It's okay. I've got you." But his voice trembled, betraying the truth. He didn't have control of this, not yet. The hallway stretched ahead, long and muted, lined with portraits of landscapes from distant colonies. Normally their shimmering inks shifted with the light, mimicking movement. Tonight, they remained still, frozen, watching. Another tick came from above, directly inside the ceiling. Mira flinched. "It's following us." "No," Aaron murmured. "It's studying us." A distant metallic groan drifted from deeper inside the mansion, slow and toothy, like an old hinge resisting motion. Aaron knew the sound. It belonged to a maintenance crawl door, one that only opened when accessed manually. Except no one had accessed it. His jaw tightened. Whatever was here wasn't just bold, it knew the structure of the house. The silver device vibrated in his hand. A single, soft pulse. Leo lifted his head, eyes widening with a flicker of recognition. He reached toward the device again. Mira whispered, "It responds to him." "I know." Aaron stepped faster now, boots thudding softly on the carbon glass. "And I'm starting to think it was designed to." They reached the winding staircase that spiraled toward the central hall. The overhead lights buzzed, subtle, but wrong. A resonant hum layered beneath the buzz, low enough to be felt more than heard. Leo stiffened. Aaron froze mid-step. "What is it, Star?" Leo pointed upward, tiny hand shaking. Something shifted on the landing above. Not footsteps. A glide. Aaron's breath hitched. Mira grabbed his sleeve. Should we? Before she finished, a soft clicking drifted down the stairs. Rhythmic, intentional, mechanical, but not like any machine Aaron had ever built. Aaron whispered, "Back up." Slowly. But before they could retreat, the lights above flickered, and for a fraction of a second, a silhouette appeared on the landing. Tall. Thin. Slightly warped, as if its edges didn't obey the rules of shape. Its head tilted with a fluid, unnatural curiosity. The lights blinked off, plunging the stairs into darkness. Mira choked on a gasp. Aaron held her arm with one hand and Leo with the other. "Don't move." The clicking stopped. And then, a single breath drifted down, soft and hollow, as if something tried to simulate human breathing but didn't quite understand how. Aaron swallowed hard. "It's studying us." Like a child pressing its face to glass. The lights snapped back on. The landing was empty. But a smear remained where the silhouette had stood, like someone had dragged wet ink across the air. It faded slowly, dissolving into thin wisps. Mira whispered, "That wasn't real." "It was real," Aaron said. "Just not physical." Leo whimpered again, curling inward. Aaron rocked him gently. I know. Oh." Then he turned to Mira. "We're not going downstairs. We go to the lab, now." "The lab?" she asked. "Isn't that the safest place I built?" he said. "And the most secure. And the only place with equipment capable of scanning the device and whatever connection it had to Leo." The shadows shifted behind them, stretching like fingers reaching across the floor. "Move," Aaron ordered. They hurried down the branching corridor. The house creaked again, deeper this time, like something heavy walked beneath the floors. The air vibrated, humming against Aaron's ribs. Mira stumbled once, but he pulled her upright without slowing. When they reached the lab door, a thick slab of reinforced alloy, Aaron pressed his palm to the sensor. The lock scanned him with a faint chirp, then the bolts unlatched with a satisfying thud. Inside, the lights warmed to life. The air smelled faintly of ozone and sterilized metal. Monitors blinked softly, displaying idle lines of data. Mechanical arms hung from the ceiling, still and awaiting command. The moment the door sealed behind them, Mira released a trembling breath. Thank God, but Aaron didn't relax. The house should have been silent outside the lab, but faintly, very faintly, he could still hear the ticking following the walls, like a predator pacing the perimeter of a cage. He set Leo gently in the padded diagnostic cradle. "It's okay, Star. I'm right here." Leo reached for him again, eyes shimmering with fear. Aaron kissed the top of his head. "I won't let anything touch you." He turned to Mira. "Hand me the stabilizer gel." She fetched a small vial, hands still shaking. Aaron placed the silver device on the central table. The lab lights reflected off its surface, revealing patterns he hadn't seen before, faint spirals and etched lines that pulsed like a heartbeat. Mira whispered, "It's beautiful." "It's wrong," Aaron murmured. "It doesn't follow any design principles I've ever known." He activated the scanning system. A beam of soft white light passed over the device. The monitors flickered, the lights dimmed. A low vibration filled the room. Aaron frowned. "That's not supposed to happen." The scan restarted on its own, lines of code scrolling too fast to register. Patterns emerged on the screen, fractals, spirals, signals looping in impossible sequences. The lab temperature dropped sharply. Leo gasped. Mira wrapped her arms around herself. "Why is it doing that?" Aaron whispered. "Because it's not being scanned." She blinked. "What?" "It's scanning us." The device pulsed again, stronger this time. Leo sat up suddenly, eyes widening. A tiny sound escaped him. Not a word. A tone, pure, high, perfectly matched to the device's pulse. Aaron felt his heart stop. "Leo?" The device responded with a new pulse twin to the sound Leo had made. The monitors exploded with activity. Data. Symbols. Coordinates. Genetic markers. Neural maps. Things impossible. Things unbelievable. Mira backed away. "Is it communicating?" Aaron stared, breath shallow. "With him." Leo made the tone again, this time with more certainty. And the device answered with a whisper of light, spiraling upward like a ribbon unraveling in zero gravity. Aaron whispered, "He's not deaf. He's never been deaf." Mira gasped. "Then why?" "He couldn't hear us," Aaron said. "Not because his ears don't work. He's four. It's... He stepped closer to Leo, but because something or someone tuned him to hear something else. The device pulsed a final time, bright, urgent. The lab lights flickered out. Everything went black. Then, from the darkness beyond the sealed lab door, a slow scrape, claws on metal. Mira whispered, voice trembling, "Sir, it found us." Aaron pulled Leo into his arms, holding him tight. His voice was steady, cold, ready. "Let it come," he said. "I'm done running." But the darkness wasn't done shifting yet. For a heartbeat, the lab existed in utter blackness, no monitors, no glowing circuits, no hum of concealed machinery. Just darkness so thick it pressed like velvet against skin. Aaron strained to hear past the pounding in his chest. Leo clung to him, tiny fists knotted in his father's shirt. Mira leaned close behind, breath ragged in the void. Somewhere on the other side of the sealed door, metal rasped slow, deliberate, claws dragging like someone carving a warning into the mansion's bones. The sound vibrated through the floor, crawling up Aaron's shins like frost. The scratch pattern wasn't random. Each stroke landed with the rhythm of thought. Aaron tightened his grip around Leo. "Don't let him feel you shake." The scrape paused. Then came a whisper, not a voice. Not sound, but a pressure against the air, like an idea forced into the room. "I see you." Mira gasped softly. What was that?" Aaron's pulse hammered. "Not a voice," he said. "A signal." He wanted to run, but running was pointless. The lab had no second exit. Whatever was outside knew that. Leo pressed his face into Aaron's neck, trembling. Then, unexpectedly, the trembling stopped. His small body went still, too still. Aaron pulled him back slightly. "Leo?" The darkness shifted, barely noticeable, like a ripple passing through ink. Then a tiny glimmer appeared beside Leo's temple. A speck of silver, a shimmer like stardust, brushing away tears. It pulsed once, faintly. Aaron felt Leo inhale sharply. And everything changed. The lab came alive again, not with light, but with vibration. The machines whispered back to life, screens flickering with static snow, robotic arms twitching as if waking from a dream. The darkness thinned, turning gray around the edges, like dawn creeping across a battlefield. The silver device on the table cracked open with a soft hiss, releasing a ribbon of luminescent haze. It hovered in the air like a curious serpent, weaving between Aaron and the diagnostic cradle before spiraling toward Leo. "No!" Aaron hissed, instinct kicking hard. He moved to shield his son. But Leo reached toward the drifting light calmly, almost knowingly. Mira whispered, "He isn't afraid." And so, a low, rhythmic thud answered from the hall. The thing outside didn't seem afraid either. Aaron lowered his voice to a tense whisper. "Mira, activate the internal barrier. Mira, ones of you, ones of you, ones of you, to inani, ones of you, 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 ones of you." "I can't see the panel," she said. "The emergency lights haven't." Before she finished, the vibration in the room condensed, focusing, sharpening, and the lab lights snapped on in a violent surge, flooding the room in sterile white. Mira shielded her eyes. Aaron blinked away the glare. What he saw made his lungs seize. The silver haze had formed a thin halo around Leo's head, not enclosing, not trapping, studying. Leo reached up and touched it. The haze responded with a soft chime, and from the hallway beneath the metallic scratches the monster answered with its own note, deeper, hungrier, claiming. Aaron's breath stuttered. "Mira, now." She scrambled to the console and slammed her palm onto the biometric pad. A ripple of blue energy expanded through the lab walls, humming like a shield being lowered across a warfront. The sound reverberated deep in the bones of the room. The hallway creature scraped again, this time harder, and a metallic bang rattled the barrier. Leo flinched. Aaron held him close. "It can't get in. Not through military-grade alloy." A deeper bang answered, denting the door just enough to mock him. Mira choked. Oh God. Aaron forced his voice calm. Focus. We have time. But he wasn't sure they did. He set Leo gently back into the diagnostic cradle, though every instinct screamed to keep him in his arms. Star, look at me. Leo turned obediently, his silver-flecked eyes soft and scared. You're safe. I'm not going anywhere. The silver haze lifted away from Leo's head and coiled toward the ceiling, forming geometric symbols too intricate to be random and too alien to be accidental. Aaron frowned. It's mapping. Mira's breath caught. Mapping what? Not what, Aaron murmured. Who? A shriek of metal split the air, the door warping under external pressure. A wicked shape bulged against the barrier for a moment, like a knuckle dragging across thin skin. Leo cried out. The haze flared, projecting a burst of silver light along the floor, forming a line, a boundary like it wanted to keep whatever was outside away from him. Aaron's mind raced. Is it protecting him? Or staking a claim? The door bulged again, a new dent forming at shoulder height. A hiss seeped through the crack, cold, predatory. Not breath, not voice. Something else. Mira backed away. It's going to break through. No, Aaron said. It's warning us. Warning? She echoed. About what? Where, why? The lights flickered as the haze shimmered again, projecting symbols onto the wall. Concentric circles, lines pointing inward, then outward, like a star collapsing and rebirthing itself. Aaron stared. His heart lurched. He recognized the pattern. It was nearly identical to the fractal signatures he'd seen a decade earlier. During the first deep space probe returns, anomalies no one had explained, signals no one could decipher. They'd been dismissed as random cosmic noise. But they hadn't been. They'd been communication. And now those same symbols circled his son like a prophecy. Aaron whispered. They didn't silence him. They prepared him. For what? Mira demanded, panicked. The door buckled inward, half an inch of metal folding like softened clay. Aaron didn't look away from the symbols. Contact. Leo suddenly sat upright in the cradle, his tiny hands lifted and touched his own ears. He winced, as though the world had become too loud or filled with the wrong sounds. Then, in a trembling little voice, he whispered the first word he had ever spoken. Papa. Aaron's soul froze. Leo. Before he could move, the haze reacted to the sound, swirling violently, forming a shield around the boy's body. The glowing ribbons tightened, then expanded outward like a cocoon preparing to hatch. Mira gasped. It's taking him. No. Aaron stepped forward. It's listening. It's a... The haze pulsed once softly, reverently. Leo blinked, then whispered again. Papa. Danger. The haze snapped into rigid lines, forming a lattice that spread toward the door like a command. Aaron's blood iced. He understood something. He heard something we can't. Aaron's blood iced. The next bang on the door silenced every thought. The metal split just a crack, but wide enough for darkness to seep through. Thin tendrils curling like smoke, searching, tasting the air. The haze shot forward and slammed into the crack with a sharp burst of silver light. For the first time, the creature recoiled. A hiss, angrier, deeper, vibrated on the other side. Aaron seized the moment. He scooped Leo into his arms and pointed to the emergency shaft on the far wall. Mira, open it. She stumbled toward it, fingers scrambling over the locks. Sir. It only fits one, maybe two at best. Aaron shook his head. We're not splitting up. The haze slashed across the room like a warning arc. Lines of light formed new symbols, this time vertical, pulsing, urgent. Mira stared. What does that mean? Aaron swallowed hard. It's telling us to run. The door groaned again. A shadow pushed through the widening crack, thin, jointed, wrong. A claw tipped the edge, tapping the floor with delicate intent. Leo whimpered. The haze vibrated violently, reacting to his fear, launching tendrils of silver across the lab. Aaron grabbed the emergency shaft handle just as Mira finally cracked the seal. Cold air shot out with a low hiss. The narrow tunnel yawned before them like the throat of a beast. Behind them, the door tore 3 inches open, enough for a single elongated eye to peer inside, its iris shifting like liquid metal. The creature blinked sideways, studying Leo with a hunger that froze Aaron's spine. It whispered without sound, "Give him to me." "No," Aaron snarled. "Never." The haze exploded into a storm of silver, slamming into the creature's eye with a radiant burst. The monster screeched a jagged, glitching sound that ripped through the lab like shattered glass. Aaron didn't wait for round two. "Get in," he shouted. Mira squeezed into the shaft first. Aaron climbed after her. Leo held tight to his chest. The haze followed, folding itself around them like a shimmering cloak. As he pulled the hatch shut, the last thing he saw was the creature's hand reaching through the crack. Too late. The hatch sealed. The shaft plunged them into darkness as gravity gave way, and the escape tube dropped them into the depths of the mansion like a swallowed secret. Leo whispered again, voice shaking. "Papa, it's not just one." Aaron felt the shaft vibrate. Above them, in the walls, on every side, more claws began to follow. The tunnel shuddered like something alive beneath our hands. The emergency shaft plunged them downward in a controlled free fall. Metal walls humming with the vibration of acceleration. Thin blue strips flickered sporadically along the interior, offering flashes of light that carved their faces into frames of fear and determination. Aaron held Leo tightly to his chest, feeling every tremor in the boy's body, every sharp inhale, every tiny heartbeat fluttering like a frightened bird. Mira clung to the guide rails in front of him, her breaths ragged, hair whipping around her face in the rushing air. But beneath the sound of their descent, beneath the wind in the rails and the distant clatter, other sounds crept along the walls. Scratches, tapping, crawling, too fast, too many, too close. Aaron gritted his teeth. They're in the internal conduits. They're following the vibrations. Leo lifted his head from Aaron's shoulder. His eyes shimmered faintly in the intermittent blue light, reflecting patterns not entirely human. A soft hum escaped him. Not intentional, instinctive. The silver haze around them shimmered in response, vibrating like a tuning fork. Mira twisted back toward them. "He's doing something again." Before she could finish, the tube jolted sideways as if struck by a massive weight. Mira screamed, slamming into the wall. Aaron tightened his grip around Leo, bracing himself with one arm. The blue strips flickered off. Darkness swallowed the shaft. Then, something scraped against the outer shell. Long, slow, deliberate. Mira whispered, "It's right next to us." Leo pressed tiny hands against his ears. Aaron murmured into Leo's hair, "It won't touch you. Not while I'm breathing." A sudden metallic clang slammed into the shaft, making it rattle violently. Mira gasped. "They're trying to break it." "No," Aaron growled. "They're trying to turn it." Effer. Another jolt rolled through the tube. The descent angle shifted sharply. Mira clung to the rail and screamed, "We're veering off the emergency track." Aaron's mind raced. If the shaft was pushed off the intended magnetic alignment, they could redirect into storage levels. Or crash into the sub-foundation. Or, Leo whimpered, "Papa, I've got you." Aaron whispered, though his voice shook. The silver haze surged, suddenly expanding, swirling around them in a cocoon of light. It braced itself against the walls like an external exoskeleton. A high-pitched screech erupted from outside the shaft, the creatures reacting to the haze's pulse. The tube steadied, the descent recentered. Mira's breath caught. He controlled it. He stabilized the track. Aaron's pulse hammered. He didn't control it. The haze did because of him. Before he could gather his next thought, a new sound drifted through the metal, soft, rhythmic, almost melodic. Click, 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 click. A call, a signal. Mira stiffened. They're communicating. Aaron swallowed hard. They're calling to each other. A deeper click answered from above. Then a chorus from below. The sound wrapped the shaft in a horrifying stereo of intent. Leo touched Aaron's collar and whispered, voice quivering, "They want me." Aaron's heart split open. He held Leo so tightly the boy squeaked. "No one is taking you," he said, voice trembling with a fury he'd never felt before. "No one. He's actually, in there. He's actually Havicide." The shaft's emergency brakes activated ahead of schedule, hissing, clamping, biting into the rail. Sparks shot past the tube's glass slits, like falling stars. "We're stopping," Mira yelled. Aaron braced. "Hold on." The tube screeched as the brakes gripped violently. Their bodies jerked forward as they slowed from high-speed descent to a grinding, teeth-rattling halt. Then, silence. No wind. No vibration. No scratches. The absence of sound was somehow worse. Mira exhaled shakily. Where are we? A faint green glow bled from a small maintenance panel to their left. Aaron leaned closer. Symbols flickered across the display. Emergency, stop coordinates, flooding warnings, and something else. Unfamiliar glyphs. Silver-tinted. Pulsing. Mira placed a hand to her mouth. Those symbols, they're like the ones the haze made. Aaron felt a cold realization twist through his gut. This shaft didn't stop. It was stopped. Leo buried his face again. Papa, they're waiting. A low, resonant thud hit the exterior of the tube. Then another, and another. 3 creatures. Maybe more. Their shadows flickered beyond the thin glass view slit, long, jointed, wrong. One pressed its face to the slit. Its eye mercury-like scanned the interior, searching for Leo. Mira almost screamed but clamped both hands over her mouth. Aaron whispered, "Don't move." Leo whimpered. The eye narrowed. The creature tapped the glass, 3 slow beats. Then, the others echoed it. Click, click, click. Click, click, click. Click, click, click. Aaron felt the pattern vibrate in his bones. A call. A demand. Leo lifted his head and whispered, "They say, open." Aaron's blood froze. "You can understand them." Leo hesitated, then nodded slowly. The creatures began scraping the shaft again, metal buckling inward. The silver haze flared, but weaker this time, like it needed Leo's focus to strengthen. Aaron's mind raced through every schematic of the mansion's emergency system. "There's an access hatch beneath the tube," he muttered. "Leads into sublevel 0. Mira's eyes widened. Sublevel 0 is unfinished. "But reinforced," Aaron said. "No conduits, no vents, no access points." "But it's a dead end," Mira argued. "There's no exit." Aaron stared toward the floor panel beneath their feet. "It's safer than staying here." A sudden, violent slam hit the tube hard enough to crack the inner shell. Shards of polymer glass splintered across the floor. Mira screamed. The creatures screamed back. Leo covered his ears and cried out, "Papa, they're angry." Aaron hit the release latch on the floor hatch. It didn't budge. Another slam. A claw pierced the outer wall. Silver haze snapped toward it like lightning, buying seconds but not minutes. Aaron gritted his teeth. "Mira, on the count of 3. Force the latch with me." Aaron. 1. The creatures pulled at the hole. 2. A metallic screech tore through the tube. 3. They yanked. The hatch ripped open. Cold air rushed upward from the darkness below, smelling of dust, metal, and earth. A bottomless black shaft descended beneath them. Mira slid down first, feet finding the narrow ladder. "Come on." Aaron lifted Leo. "Hold tight around my neck." Leo obeyed instantly, wrapping his arms and legs around him like a scared little starfish. As Aaron maneuvered toward the hatch, the creatures screeched. A claw slashed through the wall, narrowly missing Leo's foot. Aaron dropped into the hatch, gripping the ladder with one arm and holding Leo with the other. The silver haze dove after them, forming a shimmering barrier over the opening just as a creature lunged into the tube. The haze cracked, flickered, held, barely. Aaron descended as fast as the ladder allowed. Mira climbed just below him, shaking uncontrollably but alive. When they reached the bottom, the cavernous space of sublevel 0 opened in front of them, unfinished steel ribs, exposed conduits, concrete floors etched with faint chalk lines from long-abandoned construction crews. Dark, empty, silent. Aaron's boots touched ground. The haze collapsed through the hatch behind them, dimming to a single floating ember. A heartbeat later, something slammed into the hatch above. Then again. The creatures were trying to force their way down. Mira spun around wildly. "We need to run." But Aaron wasn't listening. He was staring at the ember of silver haze as it drifted toward Leo, and embedded itself gently in the center of the boy's chest. Leo inhaled. Light pulsed beneath his ribs, soft, silver strobes, too faint to be dangerous, too intentional to be natural. Aaron whispered, "Leo, what is it doing?" Leo blinked slowly, as if listening to something deep within the earth. Then he spoke in a trembling voice. It's not them we're running from. Mira froze. What do you mean? Leo pointed toward the far wall of the sublevel, toward a pitch-black corner, where even the emergency strips refused to glow. Aaron felt something move in that darkness. Slow, massive, uncoiling. Something the creatures above hadn't dared chase. Leo whispered again. Something else woke up down here. The shadows weren't empty, they were waiting. Aaron's boots hit the concrete floor with a hollow echo that bounced off the steel skeleton of sublevel 0. The chill of unfinished air clawed at his skin, sharp and metallic. Leo clung to him, small fingers wrapped tight around his neck, eyes wide and glimmering faintly in the dim light. Mira followed closely, every step hesitant, her breaths loud in the stillness. They were not alone. Something shifted in the darkness, a movement too precise to be random. The shadows rippled, as if they had weight, as if they were breathing. Aaron's heart thumped violently. He could feel it in his chest. A deep resonance that wasn't entirely his own. The silver haze hovered near Leo's chest, pulsing faintly, reacting to his tiny tremors. Each flicker of light illuminated brief glimpses of the cavern, jagged steel beams, unfinished conduits, shadows that stretched far longer than they should. Mira whispered, barely audible, "What is it? What's down here?" Aaron swallowed hard. Something. Older. Smarter. And it knows him. Leo squirmed slightly, but his voice was calm, almost reverent. It wants to talk. Aaron froze. Talk? He hadn't considered that these entities, or whatever had followed them, might communicate in a way comprehensible to a child, but not to him. And yet, the way Leo's eyes tracked the darkness, the way the haze pulsed in response, made it impossible to ignore the possibility. A low rumble vibrated through the concrete beneath their feet. Not a sound like thunder or machinery. It was slower, measured, deliberate. Something massive shifted in the depths. Mira gasped. Sir, something's moving. Before Aaron could respond, a metallic scraping echoed from above. The creatures from the mansion weren't giving up. They clawed at the hatch that led down to sublevel 0, dragging it with a shriek that shook dust from the steel beams. Focus on him, Aaron said to Mira. Not them. Mira nodded, her eyes glued to Leo, who now crouched slightly, hands hovering over the small silver haze. The pulse of light quickened in response to his subtle movements. Then the darkness in front of them began to shift. Faint glimmers appeared, like reflections of starlight in water, tracing along the edges of what seemed to be a massive form lying just beyond sight. Aaron's stomach knotted. The shape was immense, impossibly so. Leo whispered, almost in awe, "He's awake." Aaron's pulse raced. Who? What? The one below, Leo said softly. Not the ones above. The other. The silver haze expanded suddenly, forming intricate geometric patterns around Leo lines. Circles, spirals that pulsed with a rhythm, synchronized to his heartbeat. The shapes projected faint light onto the walls, revealing glimpses of the form in the darkness, coiled, sinuous, with appendages like elongated shadows stretching across the sublevel. Its eyes, or something that functioned as eyes, glimmered faintly, reflecting the haze's light. Mira stumbled back, her hand clutched to her mouth. It's enormous. 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 Aaron's lips pressed into a thin line. Stay calm. Don't make sudden movements. Let him communicate. Leo extended his hands tentatively, palms open. The haze surged upward, connecting him to the enormous form. A resonant vibration filled the room, felt more than heard, rippling through the steel beams, the concrete, and into Aaron's bones. A soft, almost musical hum emerged from the darkness. It was layered, complex, and alive, as though the being itself was forming each note with intent. The silver haze pulsed in synchronization, forming threads of light between Leo and the shadowed form. Aaron watched in awe and terror. It understands him. The rumbling beneath them deepened, shaking loose debris from the beams above. Mira gasped, stepping back. Sir, are you sure we should be? Aaron cut her off with a sharp look. We have no choice. He has to finish this. Leo's small voice trembled. Hello. The immense shadow quivered. A ripple ran along its body. The hum shifted. Higher. Responding. Leo's lips moved again, forming sounds that seemed translated by the haze, projected outward as patterns of light that danced along the cavern walls. Aaron's mind struggled to comprehend. Its language. A language of light. The form rose slowly, coiling upward with sinuous grace. Its eyes glimmered brighter, reflecting Leo's light patterns. Each pulse of energy from the haze created waves across its body. And with each wave, the massive creature's features became clearer. Elongated limbs tipped with filament-like appendages, four-stain, EMN, a head that seemed too large, and eyes like liquid mirrors. Mira whispered, "It's alive, truly alive." Aaron didn't answer. He couldn't. His gaze remained fixed on Leo, whose small hands guided the haze, guiding the conversation between child and Leviathan. The silver haze pulsed stronger. Leo's voice grew, forming words that weren't in any language Aaron had ever known, yet somehow conveyed meaning. The enormous creature responded with its own resonance, vibrations weaving through the sublevel like wind over a steel field. Suddenly, one of the creatures from above the hatch screamed a metallic shriek that sounded like tearing steel. The hatch rattled violently. Aaron's heart raced. "They're trying to break through." Leo's hands froze mid-motion. "No," he whispered. "Not now." "Wait." The Leviathan, if that was what it was, coiled protectively around the bottom of the sublevel. Its appendages stretched outward, touching the walls, creating a shield of shadows that absorbed the energy of the creatures above. Their shrieks and claws struck the barrier and rebounded, muffled, unable to breach. Aaron felt relief and fear swirl inside him. The child had awakened something that even the invaders could not overpower, but at what cost? Mira stepped closer. "Sir, what is it doing to him?" Aaron glanced down at Leo, whose small chest glowed faintly beneath the silver haze. "It's bonding," he whispered. "They're connecting. The creature is listening to him, and he's guiding it." Leo tilted his head, eyes glimmering. "He knows I'm not afraid." Aaron swallowed hard. "Nor should you be, Star. But we have to move. Sublevel 0 isn't finished. There could be." A low, resonant vibration cut him off. The Leviathan stirred, shifting its mass with a fluidity that seemed impossible for something so enormous. Its eyes locked onto the hatch above. The silver haze reacted instantly, pulsing in rapid sequences of light. The creatures above shrieked in frustration. The hatch shook violently. One of the claws tore through partially, striking the barrier. Sparks flew. Aaron grabbed Mira. "We're going deeper. There's a secondary shaft. It leads into the service tunnels." Mira nodded, following him toward a narrow path at the far end of the sublevel. The Leviathan's appendages adjusted, creating a corridor of shadow around them, a protective tunnel. The silver haze around Leo extended outward, lighting their path faintly. The creatures above howled, a sound that vibrated through the steel, but the barrier held. The Leviathan flexed, pulling the light threads tighter around Leo, reinforcing the protective cocoon. Aaron whispered, voice tense, "It's keeping them at bay, but only as long as he remains calm." Any fear could break the connection. Leo looked up, face resolute. "I'm not afraid." Quote, "Wazar." The Leviathan's body rippled in response. A vibration surged through the sublevel, shaking dust from the steel beams, making the unfinished floor tremble beneath them. Mira swallowed hard. "Do you think it understands everything he says?" Aaron didn't answer. He didn't have to. The way the Leviathan moved, the way it pulsed with the child's direction, made it clear. This was no ordinary communication. Leo was speaking directly to something ancient, intelligent, and terrifyingly powerful. They moved slowly along the path, shadows stretching and twisting like living entities. Sparks from broken conduits scattered across the floor. The tunnels were narrow, forcing them to move single file. Aaron kept Leo closest to him, the boy's small hands guiding the silver haze like a conductor orchestrating a symphony. A deep, resonant hum rolled through the tunnels. The Leviathan's pulse synchronized with it, creating a rhythm that pushed back against the metallic shrieks above. Each step forward was a battle of sound, light, and intent. Suddenly, a sharp metallic clang echoed from a side conduit. Aaron froze. Mira tensed. Leo tilted his head, listening. The silver haze pulsed faster, reacting to the intrusion. The Leviathan responded. Its appendages stretched into the side conduit, wrapping around the intruding shadow. A screech, muffled and distorted, reverberated through the tunnels. Aaron whispered, awestruck, "It's containing them." Leo's small voice cut through the tension. "We have to keep going." Aaron nodded, gripping him tighter. They moved deeper into the service tunnels, the silver haze and the Leviathan working in tandem to protect them. The creatures above raged, their screeches fading as the distance grew. But Aaron knew they were not finished. He cast a glance at Leo. The boy's eyes glimmered faintly, but there was determination there. Aaron's chest tightened. He is not just surviving. He is commanding, and we are following him. The tunnels twisted and turned, dropping them deeper into the mansion's foundations. The sublevel stretched endlessly, cold concrete walls etched with markings from long-abandoned construction. The air grew heavier, vibrating faintly with the Leviathan's presence. Mira whispered, "Sir, where are we heading?" Aaron's eyes scanned the path ahead. "The energy core," he said. "If he can reach it, we can. We can control the flow of this entire system." Leo's small hands tightened around the haze. "I can feel it. I can guide it." Aaron's pulse quickened. "Then let's move. Before they break through." "Thank you for watching." And way. A low, synchronized rumble shook the tunnels. The Leviathan pulsed, the silver haze brightening, and for the first time, Aaron felt hope. That with Leo's guidance, they might not just survive, they might finally turn the tide. But deep in the darkness, beyond the tunnels, something stirred, a shadow larger, older, and far more deliberate than anything they had encountered. Its attention was not on the creatures above, nor on the tunnels. Its gaze was on the child. Leo shivered slightly, sensing it. "Papa, something else is awake." "When?" Aaron swallowed hard. "Then we need to reach the core. Now." Now. The tunnels ahead twisted into darkness, the silver haze glowing brighter in response to the Leviathan's unseen presence. Shadows stretched and recoiled. The hum of energy grew stronger with every step, and somewhere in that darkness, a power older than the mansion itself waited. Patient, watching, hungry. The story had only just begun. Every step deeper felt like entering a heartbeat of the earth itself. The tunnels narrowed, steel beams brushing their shoulders, concrete walls rough and cold beneath their palms. Aaron's boots echoed in the corridor, each step amplified by the cavernous substructure. Leo clung to him, the silver haze dancing lightly across the boy's chest, projecting fractals of faint light that carved strange, twisting shadows along the walls. Mira followed, her breathing uneven, hands gripping the wall like a lifeline. "Sir, how much farther?" she whispered. Aaron didn't answer immediately. He felt it before he saw it, a subtle vibration underfoot, a pulse so precise it resonated in his chest, matching the cadence of Leo's small heartbeat. It wasn't mechanical. It wasn't the Leviathan. It was... Leo tilted his head, listening, eyes narrowing. "It's close," he said softly. "The core. It's awake." Aaron's gut clenched. "If it's awake, it might not want us here. Use also ends of silver. We have contents. We have silver who. And of alls, we have says not my nine and suttery." The tunnels curved sharply downward, and the air grew heavier, tinged with the faint metallic scent of the earth and something older, primordial. The silver haze pulsed in rapid bursts, reacting to invisible waves that only Leo could sense. Mira shivered. "What is it doing?" "It's like... the light is alive," Leo whispered. "It's talking to me, guiding me." Aaron's chest tightened. "Then we follow." Suddenly, a low, resonant vibration rolled through the floor. The tunnels quivered. Dust fell from the ceiling. The Leviathan's appendages, unseen but felt, coiled protectively around them, pushing back against some invisible force. The silver haze flared, bright and warm against the chill of the underground. Aaron kept his grip firm on Leo. "Keep moving, don't look back." The souls, but the shadows seemed alive, stretching along the walls, coiling into shapes that mimicked movement, waiting, observing. They were no longer just following, they were aware, calculating. A sharp metallic screech echoed from the upper hatch. The creatures above had not given up. One of their claws breached partially, hammering against the reinforced barrier, sparks scattering. The Leviathan responded with a ripple of energy, containing the breach, but Aaron knew it couldn't last forever. Leo whispered urgently, "We have to hurry." The corridor opened into a massive chamber, half-constructed, walls lined with steel conduits and scaffolding. At the center, a faint blue glow emanated from an intricate lattice of machinery, the energy core. Its hum was soft but powerful, resonating through the floor and into Aaron's bones. "This is it," he murmured, awe and fear mingling in his voice. Leo stepped forward, small feet, moving carefully over uneven concrete. The silver haze stretched ahead, connecting with the core, wrapping its beams around the latticework like threads of light. Aaron followed, holding him close. Mira trailed, eyes wide, scanning every shadow. "Sir." "It's like the room itself is alive," she whispered. A sudden vibration pulsed through the chamber. The core reacted, its glow intensifying, casting sharp shadows across the scaffolding. The Leviathan's unseen appendages shifted, curling around the chamber's perimeter, creating an invisible barrier. The creatures above shrieked, their claws scraping the hatch violently. Sparks flew. The metallic sound reverberated through the chamber, but the Leviathan's protective energy absorbed most of it. Leo's small hands hovered over the silver haze, guiding its patterns. "We have to awaken it fully," he whispered. "It won't fight if it trusts me." Aaron's heart pounded. "Trust? You can trust a Leviathan?" Leo's gaze was unwavering. "It listens to me. I can control it just a little. Enough. If you wait a say." The core's glow pulsed in response. Lines of light projected outward, touching the walls, the ceiling, the machinery. A soft, harmonic vibration filled the chamber, resonating with the Leviathan's presence in the silver haze surrounding Leo. Mira whispered, her voice trembling. "It's beautiful and terrifying." The ground quaked violently. A shadow moved along the far wall, far larger than the Leviathan, stretching impossibly. The vibration of its movement pushed against the chamber, a weight that seemed to defy physics. Leo's hands froze, and the silver haze pulsed erratically. "It's awake," he whispered. Aaron felt the tension rise in the air. The electricity of anticipation. "What is it?" he asked, voice low. Leo tilted his head, listening to the vibrations that only he could hear. "It's older than the house, older than us. It was sleeping, and now it knows we are here." The massive shadow moved closer, coiling along the chamber floor. Its form was jagged, yet fluid. Appendages undulating like smoke made of steel. Its eyes were singular, immense lenses glimmered faintly, reflecting the blue light of the energy core. Mira gasped. "It's enormous. It could crush us in seconds." Aaron held Leo tighter. "Stay calm," he said. "It might sense his intention." Leo extended a small hand, and the silver haze expanded outward, linking with the shadow's dark form. The hum intensified, vibrating through the chamber, creating an invisible tether between boy and Leviathan. The shadow paused, almost imperceptibly, as if considering. Then, with a fluid movement, it lowered its massive head, closer to Leo, and a vibration resonated directly through the boy's chest. Leo whispered, barely audible, "It's listening." The Leviathan, coiled protectively around them, pulsed its energy in sync with the shadow. The chamber shivered. Sparks from broken conduits scattered across the floor. Dust fell from the ceiling, but the protective field held. Mira's eyes were wide with disbelief. It's like he's commanding it." Aaron's pulse quickened. "Not commanding, communicating. He's guiding it." Leo's gaze was steady. "We have to merge it with the core. Only then can we stop them." Aaron swallowed hard. "Stop them?" "The creatures above," Leo said softly. "And whatever else comes after, it won't end with just us if we fail." The shadow coiled, responding to the silver haze, its movements deliberate, fluid, almost reverent. It wrapped around the core latticework without touching it, synchronizing with the pulse of energy emanating from the machinery. A sudden, sharp clang echoed from the upper hatch. Sparks rained down as one of the creatures breached further, tearing at the reinforced barrier. The Leviathan rippled outward, absorbing the energy of the strike, but Aaron knew it couldn't hold for long. Leo whispered, "Focus. On the rhythm. Feel it." Aaron felt the vibrations in his chest, aligning with Leo's tiny heartbeat. The silver haze pulsed faster, projecting threads of light that wove through the core lattice. The shadow moved with precision, responding to the boy's subtle guidance. Mira whispered, It's merging with him. The light, the shadow, everything." The chamber quaked violently. The core pulsed with increasing intensity, resonating through the foundations of the mansion. The creatures above screeched in frustration, their claws unable to penetrate the protective field. Sparks flew from broken conduits, creating streaks of light across the chamber. Aaron felt a mix of awe and terror. If he can do this, if he can merge them, we might survive. But at what cost? Leo's small hands moved with precision, guiding the silver haze in intricate patterns. The shadow coiled tighter around the core, energy and darkness intertwining. Vibrations rippled through the chamber, echoing through the foundations, through the sublevel, through every steel beam. Mira gasped, "Sir, it's like he's rewriting reality." Aritasso. The core glowed brighter, pulsing with a rhythm that matched Leo's heartbeat. The shadow and the Leviathan merged into a seamless field of energy and darkness, forming a protective cocoon around them. The creatures above shrieked, the sound muffled by the field. Aaron whispered, voice trembling, "He's doing it. He's really doing it." Leo's gaze met his father's, calm and determined. "I can hear them all. And now they'll hear me too. I can hear them all." The chamber vibrated with a crescendo of sound, light, and energy. The protective cocoon expanded, pushing the creatures above back, sealing the hatch. The sublevel trembled, but the field held firm. Aaron felt hope ignite in his chest. We might actually make it. But deep in the darkness beyond the chamber, unseen and patient, something stirred, a shadow older, larger, and more deliberate than anything in the sublevel. Its gaze was fixed, not on the core, not on the tunnels, but on the child. Leo shivered slightly, sensing it. "Papa, it knows me." Aaron tightened his grip. "Then we have to finish this. Now." The silver haze pulsed, the shadow and Leviathan responded, and the chamber glowed brighter than ever. The battle for control, survival, and understanding had only just begun. And in that light, Aaron realized this was bigger than any of them had imagined. The deeper we went, the heavier the air became, as if the world itself were holding its breath. The protective cocoon of shadow and silver light stretched behind them as Aaron, Leo, and Mira moved deeper into the labyrinthine tunnels beyond the energy core chamber. The hum of merged forces, Leviathan and shadow, pulsed through the concrete, vibrating beneath their boots. Each step felt simultaneously deliberate and precarious. Leo's small hands hovered over the haze, guiding its rhythmic pulses. The boy's calm steadiness belied the chaos they left behind. Aaron watched him closely, sensing the weight of responsibility resting on such tiny shoulders. A child controlling a Leviathan, and something far older. Mira shivered, clutching her coat tighter around her shoulders. "It's like the tunnels themselves are alive," she whispered, voice quivering. "They are," Aaron said, his tone low and tense. "The core merged with it, and the thing is feeding off that energy. Every structure, every conduit, it's all reacting. Then, we can serve a set of things as experience from the 7. Then minor, we can service it in minus. We can 717. Then we can 717. Ahead, the tunnel opened slightly, revealing a shaft descending further into darkness. Faint luminescent veins ran along the walls, glowing with residual energy from the core. The farther they went, the stronger the vibrations became, echoing with the pulse of the Leviathan's presence entwined with the shadow. Leo paused for a moment, hands still. "I can feel it. Something is moving below us." "What am?" Aaron's stomach nodded. "Below? What could be down there?" Before Leo could answer, a distant, low rumble rolled through the sublevel. The vibrations weren't mechanical, nor entirely natural. They had intelligence. a rhythm that suggested patience, observation, and intent. Mira whispered sharply, "It's huge, whatever it is." The tunnels twisted downward, spiraling like the inner workings of some colossal machine. Dust fell from the ceiling in faint clouds, and the metallic scent of tension hung heavy in the air. Every heartbeat felt magnified, each breath a drumbeat in a symphony of anticipation. Leo's small voice cut through, steady and resolute. "It's waiting, but it knows we are coming." Aaron swallowed hard. "Then we must not hesitate." As they descended, the shadow coiled more tightly around them, the silver haze flaring in bursts with every subtle movement of Leo's fingers. Aaron could feel the energy field extending beyond the visible, probing the walls, floors, and ceiling, reading the environment, alerting them to danger, guiding them forward. Suddenly, a shrill metallic screech echoed from above. The creatures they had fought in the sublevel's upper layers had regrouped. They hammered against the reinforced hatch, claws tearing through steel and concrete. Sparks rained down from the scaffolding, scattering across the floor. Leo's hands stilled, and the silver haze pulsed rapidly. "They're trying to follow us," he said quietly. "They won't get through," Aaron replied, though the tension in his voice betrayed his fear. "Not while that thing protects us." The tunnels narrowed abruptly, forcing them to move in single file. The air grew thicker, each breath a labor. Faint echoes of movement teased the edges of their perception, shadows twisting in ways that defied logic, sounds that seemed to come from within their own minds. Mira whispered, almost to herself, "Sir, I feel like we're walking into its thoughts, not just its space." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Focus. Don't get distracted." Leo's hands hovered over the haze, pulsing with deliberate intent. The silver light projected faint symbols along the walls, intricate shapes that shifted with his heartbeat. The shadow followed, coiling and stretching, forming a protective lattice that kept unseen dangers at bay. Suddenly, the ground trembled violently. The tunnel shuddered, as if the earth itself had exhaled, sending dust and small debris cascading around them. The vibration was unlike anything Aaron had felt before, measured, deliberate, and terrifyingly alive. Leo's gaze sharpened. "It's below us, the Ancient One." Aaron froze. "The Ancient One?" I was not Leo nodded, small hands, guiding the haze with precision. "It's older than the Leviathan, older than the mansion. It slept in the foundations, but now, it's awake." Mira swallowed hard, her voice barely audible. "And it knows us?" "It knows him," Leo said, eyes fixed ahead. "It knows I'm here." Aaron's pulse quickened. "And if it doesn't like what it sees?" Leo's small voice was firm. "Then we listen. We don't fight, we guide." The tunnel opened into a massive subterranean chamber. The walls were etched with ancient symbols, faintly glowing in patterns that seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of the place. At the center, a pit stretched downward into darkness, the bottom lost in shadow. The Leviathan's presence coiled protectively around the chamber, its appendages stretching to the walls, floor, and ceiling. The silver haze expanded, threads of light dancing across the carvings, illuminating intricate glyphs that shifted as if alive. The patterns resonated with the Leviathan, forming a symphony of energy, light, and shadow. Mira whispered, awestruck, "It's incredible." Aaron kept a protective hand on Leo. "Stay close. Whatever is down there, it's not like anything we've faced." A deep, resonant vibration rose from the pit. The shadows at the edges of the chamber flickered and stretched unnaturally. The Leviathan shifted, pulsing its protective energy, but the vibration continued, growing stronger, more deliberate. Leo's eyes widened. "It's communicating. But, differently, it's older. It speaks in waves, in pulses." Aaron swallowed hard. "Then we have to listen." The ground trembled again, and a shape began to emerge from the darkness below, a massive, fluid form, coiling upward like smoke solidified. Its appendages stretched impossibly, glimmering faintly with a phosphorescent glow. The shadow moved in tandem with the Leviathan, yet it was clear this new presence dominated the chamber. Mira gasped. "It's enormous. I can't even see its full shape." Aaron's chest tightened. "No one can. But Leo, he can." Leo extended his hands, guiding the silver haze into the pit. Threads of light wrapped around the emerging form, pulsing with his heartbeat. The vibrations harmonized with the Leviathan, creating a resonance that filled the chamber, a dialogue of energy and intent. The massive entity shifted, eyes or lenses glimmering faintly, reflecting the silver haze. It paused, considering, observing. The vibrations it emitted were slow, deliberate, almost like measured breaths. Leo whispered, small and steady, "I'm not afraid. I won't hurt you." The entity recoiled slightly, then pulsed with a gentle, resonant vibration in response. The silver haze flared, threads of light weaving into the creature, forming a delicate lattice of connection. Mira's voice trembled. "It's listening." Aaron exhaled, barely realizing he had been holding his breath. "It's acknowledging him." The chamber pulsed with energy, the Leviathan coiling tighter, threads of light connecting all three: child, Leviathan, ancient shadow. The vibrations formed a rhythm that echoed through the tunnels, a communication older than language, older than thought. Leo's small voice guided the pulses. "We need to merge with it. Only together can we stop the others." Aaron's pulse raced. "The creatures above the ones that attacked the mansion, they can't breach this?" Leo shook his head. "Not while it trusts me." The shadow below coiled, responding to the silver haze. The Leviathan's energy intertwined, creating a protective cocoon. Sparks from broken conduits scattered across the chamber floor, but nothing could breach the combined field. Aaron glanced at Mira. "We're witnessing a bond. But this is bigger than us. He's controlling, guiding, something that shouldn't be controlled." Leo's gaze met his father's. "I'm not controlling. I'm listening. And it trusts me." The chamber trembled again, vibrations rippling through the foundations of the mansion. Threads of light and shadow intertwined, pulsing in harmony with Leo's heartbeat. The Ancient One, coiled and massive, pulsed in response, acknowledging, harmonizing, yet still cautious. Mira whispered, voice awed and fearful, "It's like reality itself bends to him." Aaron swallowed hard, gripping Leo's shoulder. "Then we follow him. Whatever he decides, we trust." The shadows stretched across the chamber, light threads weaving through every corner. Sparks from broken conduits scattered across the floor, echoing the pulse of energy that now dominated the sublevel. And in the depths, far below, even the Leviathan, something older, stirred a presence, vast, patient, and deliberate, watching the child who dared guide it. Leo shivered slightly, sensing it. "Papa, it knows me, truly knows me." Aaron nodded, voice tight with tension and awe. "Then we follow, and hope we're ready for what comes next." The silver haze pulsed brighter than ever, the Leviathan coiled tighter, and the ancient entity beneath awaited the child's next move. A symphony of shadow, light, and boundless power, ready to unfold. The real test was only just beginning. The air vibrated with secrets, as if every stone whispered a warning, to very sincerity. Aaron felt it first, a subtle tremor beneath his boots that wasn't from the tunnels, not from the Leviathan, and not from the ancient presence below. It was something alive, deliberate, aware. He tightened his grip on Leo, who walked steadily ahead, guiding the silver haze with calm precision. Mira faltered, glancing at the walls lined with faintly glowing glyphs. "Sir, do you feel that? Like the stones themselves are watching us?" "They are," Aaron admitted, swallowing the tightening lump in his throat. "And whatever's watching, it's patient, calculating, and quoting." The tunnels widened slightly into a chamber filled with faint blue luminescence, the residual pulse of the core reverberating in the stone. Aaron could feel the Leviathan's appendages coiled tightly around the walls, responding to subtle vibrations, every movement of Leo and the silver haze mirrored with protective precision. Leo paused, his small hands lifting the silver threads in a deliberate, intricate pattern. "It's close. The presence. It's just beyond this wall. I can sense its heartbeat." "I can sense its heartbeat." Aaron frowned. "Heartbeat? How is that even possible?" Leo's gaze remained fixed ahead. "It's alive in ways you can't understand. But I can reach it safely. When a minus stay side. For a minus stay side. But I can reach it safely. When I stay side. When I stay side in the prisons. When I stay side." Mira stepped closer. "Do you think it will Attack? Leo shook his head. It's not evil, just waiting, testing. The chamber shivered suddenly. A low, resonant vibration rolled through the floor, traveling up through their bones. Dust fell from the ceiling. The Leviathan pulsed in response, threads of its energy weaving tighter around them, shielding them from whatever stirred beyond. Aaron swallowed hard. Then we move carefully, step by step. The tunnel curved sharply downward, revealing a spiral staircase carved into the stone itself. Ancient symbols lined the edges of each step, glowing faintly with a rhythm that matched the vibrations in the chamber. Each step seemed alive, pulsing in sync with the Leviathan and the silver haze. Leo's small feet moved steadily, each step precise. "It's guiding me," he whispered. "I can feel it. If I falter, we all falter. We all falter." Mira bit her lip. "Sir, I think this is a test, a challenge." Aaron nodded, gripping the handrail as the vibrations grew stronger. And we passed by following him. The staircase ended at a massive stone door, covered in intricate carvings. At the center, a faintly glowing sigil pulsed in a pattern that Leo seemed to recognize instinctively. He extended his hand. Silver threads of light dancing across the surface, weaving into the carvings. The door shuddered, resonating with the vibrations of the Leviathan and the ancient presence. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, it began to open, revealing a chamber beyond unlike anything they had seen. The walls were etched with countless symbols, glowing softly with a spectral light. The floor was uneven, yet alive, pulsing gently with the rhythm of something immense, something that seemed to breathe. At the center, a massive pool of dark, reflective liquid shimmered with threads of silver light, reacting to Leo's presence. Mira whispered, voice trembling, "It's beautiful and terrifying." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Keep close. We don't know what we're dealing with yet." Minus face, Leo stepped forward, small hands guiding the silver haze over the liquid surface. The light expanded, threading through the pool, connecting with something beneath its dark depths. The vibration intensified, resonating through the chamber, through the tunnels, through the foundation of the mansion above. A sudden shadow moved beneath the surface of the liquid, massive, sinuous, stretching beyond the boundaries of sight. The pulse of its movement rippled through the threads of silver light, causing the Leviathan to coil more tightly, protective and alert. Leo whispered, calm and focused, "It's listening, not attacking. It wants to understand." As a prosody, Mira exhaled, barely realizing she'd been holding her breath. "Then, we have to be patient." Aaron nodded, "Step carefully. Every move counts." The shadow beneath the liquid slowly rose, forming a shape that was impossible to comprehend fully. Its body was fluid yet solid, light and darkness intertwined. Its movements were deliberate, flowing with an intelligence that felt ancient. Leo guided the silver haze, weaving patterns across the pool, interacting with the shadow. Vibrations pulsed in waves, resonating through the chamber. The Leviathan adjusted, coiling and stretching, forming an intricate lattice that protected them while responding to Leo's subtle cues. The shadow paused, then slowly extended a massive appendage, not threatening but probing, as if testing the child's intent. Leo's small voice rang clear, steady, commanding only in his calm certainty. "I mean no harm. I want to listen, to understand." The shadow recoiled slightly, then pulsed with gentle, rhythmic vibrations in response. Threads of silver light intertwined with its dark form, forming a lattice of connection. The vibrations created a resonance that filled the chamber, echoing off the stone walls and through the tunnels beyond. Mira whispered, eyes wide, "It's acknowledging him." "Not Amasan," says, Mira whispered. Aaron felt a shiver run down his spine. "It's communicating, not in words, not in sound, but in intention." The pool's surface shimmered, threads of light intertwining with the shadow. The Leviathan pulsed with the rhythm, expanding the protective lattice, extending it to the edges of the chamber. Sparks from broken conduits scattered across the floor, but the field held, shielding them from any residual dangers in the sublevel. Leo's gaze met his father's. We have to merge it with the core. Only together can we stop the others. Aaron's pulse quickened. The creatures above, the ones that attacked the mansion, are they still trying to follow us? Leo shook his head. Not while it trusts me. This bond protects us. I know, we were all. The shadow beneath the surface pulsed again, responding to Leo's guidance. Threads of light and darkness intertwined, forming a seamless lattice of energy. The vibrations filled the chamber with a melody older than language, older than thought, resonating through every wall, every beam, every tunnel. Mira whispered, awestruck. It's like reality itself bends to him. Aaron tightened his grip on Leo. Then we follow him. Whatever he decides, we trust. The chamber pulsed, the Leviathan coiling tighter, and the ancient entity beneath the one older than the mansion, older than the earth it rested on, responded to the child's subtle commands. Threads of light and shadow intertwined, merging with the pool, the chamber, and the tunnels beyond, creating a resonance that was both protective and alive. Aaron's thoughts raced. This is beyond control, beyond comprehension. But he's guiding it. He's communicating. Somehow. Leo's small voice cut through his thoughts. It trusts me. Now we have to show it we are worthy. We trust we are worthy. The shadows stretched across the chamber, the light threads weaving through every corner, every crack, every symbol. Sparks from broken conduits danced in the rhythmic vibration of the combined forces, illuminating glimpses of the ancient carvings that lined the walls. Mira's voice trembled. It's like the world itself is waiting for him. Aaron exhaled, awe and fear intertwining. Then we stepped carefully. One heartbeat at a time. Leo reached out. Small hands, extending over the surface of the dark pool. The silver haze followed, pulsing with his heartbeat, connecting with the shadow below. Vibrations intensified, harmonizing with the Leviathan, resonating through the sublevel, the tunnels, the mansion above. The massive shadow shifted fluidly, aligning with the threads of silver light. A pulse of energy rippled outward, pushing back residual threats, sealing the chamber in a protective cocoon. Aaron glanced at Mira. We're witnessing a bond. Something that shouldn't exist in this world. Yet here it is, alive in his hands. Leo's gaze met his father's, unwavering. It's not mine to control. Only to listen. To guide. The chamber thrummed with energy, the pool reflecting threads of silver and dark shadow intertwined. The Leviathan's protective lattice extended, encompassing the child, the chamber, and the entity below. And in the depths, far beyond the light and shadow, the ancient presence watched, patient, deliberate, acknowledging the child who dared guide it. Leo shivered slightly, sensing the weight of the connection. Papa. It knows me. Truly knows me. Thanks for watching. And Aaron nodded, voice tight with tension, reverence, and awe. Then we follow, and brace ourselves for what comes next. The silver haze pulsed brighter than ever, the Leviathan coiled tighter, and the ancient entity beneath awaited the child's next move, a symphony of shadow, light, and power poised to reshape the sublevel and perhaps everything above it. The real trial was only just beginning. The deeper we descended, the heavier the silence became, like the world itself was holding its breath. The chamber walls glimmered faintly, a living lattice of shadow and silver threads, responding to Leo's steady pulse. Aaron's boots scuffed against the stone floor, reverberating in the thick, tense air. The Leviathan coiled protectively around them, sensing every shift of energy from the child guiding it. Mira's voice trembled. Sir, it's as if the stones themselves remember him. They do, Aaron murmured, keeping his eyes on Leo. And whatever's down there, it's listening. Leo extended a small hand over the pool of dark, reflective liquid. Threads of silver light spiraled from his fingers, coiling into the fluid darkness below. The massive shadow responded, pulsing in time with his heartbeat. Vibrations filled the chamber, a language older than thought, unspoken yet deeply understood. Aaron swallowed hard. A child is communicating with something older than the mansion. Older than the foundations themselves. The shadow beneath the liquid shifted, sinuous and deliberate. Its appendages stretched toward the silver haze, But there was no aggression, only awareness, curiosity, testing. Leo's small voice carried calm authority. I mean no harm, I only want to understand. The shadow recoiled slightly, then pulsed in slow, resonant waves. The Leviathan reacted instantly, expanding its protective lattice, its energy weaving through the chamber with precision. Threads of light wrapped around the shadow, connecting boy, Leviathan, and ancient presence in a delicate harmony. Mira gasped. It's acknowledging him, not attacking, just listening. Aaron felt a mixture of awe and fear tighten in his chest. We're witnessing something impossible, but he's guiding it. Somehow he's guiding it. The chamber pulsed in response. The shadow extended further, testing the boundaries of the silver haze. Sparks flickered from broken conduits, falling like rain, but the lattice absorbed the residual energy. The vibrations hummed through the floor, up through the tunnels, through the foundations of the mansion above. Leo's gaze never wavered. We have to merge it with the core, he whispered. Only together can we stop the others. When Etsavai, CSN, wide personos, when that Natsavai, wide persono, when that wide persono, when that was nowing, when that waiteng, when that was nowing, huasavai, wide person. Aaron's pulse raced. The creatures above, the ones that attacked the mansion, are they still following? The ones the paper is ended. The ones the paper's ended. The ones that attacked the mansion. The ones that attacked the mansion. Leo shook his head. Not while it trusts me. This bond protects us, for now. Mira's eyes widened, taking in the surreal dance of light and shadow. It's like the chamber itself is alive, bending to him. Hero's eyes waiter. Israeli says, I waiter. Israelis. I waiter. UA. Mira's eyes widened. I waiter. Aaron exhaled slowly, gripping Leo's shoulder. Then we trust him. One step at a time, one heartbeat at a time. The silver haze pulsed brighter, threading through the shadow. Vibrations intensified, resonating with the Leviathan and the entity below. The chamber thrummed, alive with an unspoken rhythm, a symphony older than language. From the depths of the dark pool, the shadow began to rise. Its immense form moved fluidly, stretching toward the lattice of silver threads. Massive yet careful, deliberate in every motion, the Leviathan adjusted, coiling tighter, anticipating danger while shielding them. Leo's small hands guided the haze across the surface, weaving intricate patterns into the darkness. The vibrations from the shadow intensified, echoing through the chamber, responding to the boy's pulse, his intent, his focus. Mira whispered, voice barely audible, it's shaping reality. Or maybe it's shaping itself around him. Mira whispered, why? Why? It's himself, Anna. Why? Why them? Aaron swallowed hard. It's responding to intention. That's all I can say. Fee, it's saint. Fee, most. Is. The shadow's appendages probed the silver haze, creating ripples that danced across the dark pool. Threads of light intertwined, forming an intricate lattice that connected child, Leviathan, and ancient presence. Relos, where they have my lightens. Relos. Sparks from broken conduits scattered across the floor, illuminating glimpses of the carved walls, the ancient symbols that had witnessed centuries of silence. Leo's gaze lifted to Aaron. We must be steady. One misstep, and the bond falters. Aaron nodded, gripping the boy's shoulder firmly. We're steady. We follow your lead. The chamber pulsed again, the vibrations reaching a crescendo. The shadow shifted fluidly, responding to Leo's guidance. Threads of silver light wrapped tighter, weaving a cocoon of energy and intention. The Leviathan mirrored every pulse, every subtle motion, expanding its protective lattice to encompass the entire chamber. From the depths, the shadow pulsed with deliberate rhythm, coiling around the threads of light. It was immense, a force older than time, yet in this moment it deferred to a child's guidance. Mira whispered, awestruck. It's communicating. Not with words, not with sound, but with everything. One, 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 one. Aaron exhaled slowly, heart pounding. We're witnessing a bond, a connection that shouldn't exist. And yet, it does. We ere the time. The vibrations grew stronger, filling the chamber with a resonance that reverberated through the tunnels, through the foundations, through the mansion itself. Leo's small hands moved gracefully, guiding the lattice of light, weaving order into chaos. Suddenly, a tremor rolled through the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the walls rattled. Sparks flew from the broken conduits. The shadow pulsed in response, coiling protectively, harmonizing with the Leviathan's lattice. Mira gasped, clutching Aaron's arm. "Sir, it's testing him. I think it's testing his heart." Leo nodded slightly, small hands steady. "It is. But I am ready, we are ready." "Aye." The chamber vibrated in response, threads of silver light weaving tighter into the shadow's immense form. The Leviathan adjusted instantly, its energy expanding, reinforcing the protective lattice. The pulsing rhythm became a song, an unspoken dialogue older than thought, harmonizing child, Leviathan, and ancient presence. Aaron whispered, awestruck, "He's not controlling it, he's guiding it, listening, and it listens." The shadow beneath the liquid coiled higher, more deliberate in movement, testing, probing, yet never striking. The silver haze pulsed with every heartbeat of the child, wrapping the shadow in a lattice of connection, forming a protective and responsive network that filled the chamber. Leo's gaze lifted, calm, resolute. "We must merge completely. Only then can the bond hold against the others." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Then we do it. Together." The silver threads reached deep into the shadow, weaving a connection that pulsed with the rhythm of Leo's heartbeat. The Leviathan coiled tighter, responding instantaneously to the boy's subtle cues, forming a protective lattice that expanded across the chamber. Sparks from the broken conduits illuminated threads of light, dancing across the walls, revealing glimpses of ancient carvings in sharp, ethereal detail. The shadow pulsed, massive yet controlled, responding to the child's guidance. Vibrations flowed outward, merging with the Leviathan, merging with the chamber itself. It was alive, aware, deliberate. Mira whispered, awed and fearful, "It's as if reality itself bends to him." Aaron tightened his grip on Leo. "Then we follow him, and trust him to guide us through what comes next." The chamber pulsed again, stronger, brighter. Threads of silver, light and shadow, intertwined, forming a seamless lattice of energy and intention. The Leviathan's protective field expanded, coiling across every inch of the chamber, and deep in the darkness, the ancient presence, older than the mansion, older than the foundations, patient and deliberate, watched the child. It pulsed, responded, acknowledged. Leo shivered slightly, sensing it. "Papa. It knows me, truly knows me." Aaron nodded, voice tight with awe. "Then we follow, and prepare for the trials ahead." The silver haze flared brighter than ever. The Leviathan coiled tighter, and the ancient entity below awaited the child's next move. A symphony of shadow, light, and boundless power, poised to reshape the sublevel and everything above it. The real challenge was only just beginning. Every heartbeat echoed in the stone, as if the tunnels themselves were alive and listening. The chamber hummed with an energy that defied logic, a delicate balance of shadow and silver light. Aaron's gaze followed Leo's small hands, moving gracefully over the pool, threading the silver haze through the darkness beneath. Every motion rippled across the lattice of energy, weaving an intricate network that connected child, Leviathan, and ancient entity. Mira's breath came in quiet, shallow gasps. "It's alive and aware. I can feel it watching us, waiting." "They are always watching," Aaron murmured, voice tight. "This presence, it doesn't act, it observes. It judges. And it is patient, more patient than we are ready for." Leo's eyes never left the dark pool. "It knows us, and now it trusts me enough to respond." The shadow beneath the surface began to move more deliberately. Its massive appendages stretched upward, probing the silver threads of light. The Leviathan coiled tighter, protective yet responsive, sensing every vibration in the chamber, every pulse of intent from Leo. Mira stepped closer, trembling. Sir, it's testing him, isn't it? Testing his mind, his heart? Aaron's jaw tightened. Yes. Every movement, every subtle gesture is being examined, and he must pass not for himself, but for all of us. The chamber shivered again, faint tremors echoing through the stone. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the walls seemed to hum in response to the vibrations of the ancient presence below. Threads of silver light pulsed in harmony with Leo's heartbeat, entwining with the shadow, forming a protective, responsive lattice. Leo's small voice carried clearly. We need to merge fully. Only together can we face the others. Aaron swallowed hard, gripping the boy's shoulder. Then we do it. One step, one heartbeat at a time. The pool's surface shimmered, threads of silver light wrapping through the shadow beneath. Its movements were immense, fluid, deliberate, yet non-violent, guided by the child's subtle commands. The Leviathan mirrored every pulse, extending the protective lattice to cover every corner of the chamber. Sparks flickered from broken conduits, but the energy lattice absorbed any stray bursts, creating a cocoon of safety. Mira whispered, awed. It's like reality itself bends to him. Or maybe he bends to reality, shaping it with his intent. Aaron exhaled slowly, awe and tension coiling in his chest. He's not controlling it. He's listening, and it listens. The shadow pulsed, massive and deliberate, entwining with the silver threads. Vibrations filled the chamber, a language older than words, echoing in every stone, every beam, every wall. The Leviathan's lattice expanded in harmony, amplifying the resonance. Leo guided the light, small hands precise and unwavering. We must unify it with the core. Only then can the bond withstand the others. Aaron's pulse quickened. The creatures above those attacking the mansion can't breach this? Leo shook his head. Not while the bond holds. It trusts me, and I trust it. That's all that matters now. Even dozers of the parton, well, even dozers of the parton, even dozers of the parton, if I myo, while the bond holds for man. Mira's wide eyes reflected the dancing lights. It's beyond comprehension. The energy, it feels alive. It feels alive. It feels alive. Aaron nodded. Then we follow him. One heartbeat at a time. We trust him to guide us. The threads of silver light intensified, weaving through the shadow in intricate patterns. Vibrations surged, resonating with the Leviathan, pulsing through the chamber, into the tunnels, into the very foundations of the mansion above. From the depths, the shadow rose, massive yet careful, testing the boundaries of the light. It was immense, fluid, deliberate. The Leviathan adjusted, coiling tightly, shielding the group while responding to the child's guidance. Leo's small voice rang steady. We listen. We guide. We do not harm. 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 The shadow recoiled slightly, then pulsed in response, a slow, resonant acknowledgement. Threads of light, entwined with darkness, forming a protective lattice that enveloped child, Leviathan, and entity in harmony. Sparks from broken conduits illuminated fleeting glimpses of the chamber's carvings, symbols older than time itself. Aaron whispered, awestruck, this bond, it shouldn't exist, and yet here it is, alive and responsive, obeying only his intent. The vibrations intensified, filling the chamber with a resonance that echoed outward, merging with the tunnels, resonating through the mansion's foundation. Leo's pulse guided the lattice, weaving harmony from potential chaos. Suddenly, a tremor surged through the chamber. Dust and debris fell, and the walls rattled with the force of the vibrations. The shadow beneath the liquid pulsed and shifted, coiling protectively, harmonizing with the Leviathan's lattice. Mira gasped. It's testing him. Harder this time. His focus mustn't waver. Mira gasped. Mustn't waver. Mira gasped. Mira gasped. Mira gasped. Mustn't waver. Mustn't waver. Leo's gaze remained unwavering, small hands moving gracefully. We are ready. We must unify. The lattice of light wrapped fully around the shadow, merging with its immense form. Vibrations echoed, resonating with the Leviathan and the chamber itself. The pulse became a symphony, unspoken, a dialogue of intention, trust, and immense power. Aaron whispered to Mira. He's guiding it, listening and responding. Not controlling, not commanding. Just understanding. The shadow moved fluidly, vast and deliberate, entwining with the silver haze. The Leviathan expanded its protective lattice, every pulse in sync with the child's heartbeat, reinforcing the shield, balancing the forces in the chamber. Leo's gaze lifted, calm and resolute. Now we merge fully. Only then can we face the others and survive. The threads of silver light dove deep into the shadow, forming a connection that pulsed with the rhythm of Leo's heartbeat. The Leviathan mirrored every subtle movement, expanding its protective lattice, reinforcing the chamber, holding back potential threats. Sparks danced across the floor, reflected in the intertwining lights and shadows. The shadow pulsed again, coiling around the threads of silver light. Its immense, fluid form tested the child's intent, but yielded, forming a responsive, protective network that enveloped the chamber. Leo's voice was quiet but firm. We are one. Child, Leviathan, an ancient presence, united. 1-4. Aaron swallowed, awestruck. We're witnessing a connection older than time, alive in his hands. And it listens. The vibrations resonated outward, threads of light and shadow intertwined seamlessly, forming a lattice that encompassed every inch of the chamber. The Leviathan's protective cocoon expanded, encompassing the child and the ancient entity. Sparks from broken conduits illuminated the lattice, revealing glimpses of carvings that had been untouched for centuries. Deep in the darkness, the ancient presence watched, immense, patient, deliberate. It pulsed in acknowledgement of the child guiding it, responding to the intent, absorbing the rhythm, merging with the lattice. Leo shivered slightly. Papa, it knows me. Truly knows me. Aaron nodded, voice taut with tension and awe. Then we follow, and prepare for the trials ahead. Whatever comes next, we face it together. Paction asiden, consideries option, we having honor. The silver haze flared brighter than ever, the Leviathan coiled tighter, and the ancient entity below awaited the child's next move. A symphony of shadow, light, and unimaginable power ready to reshape the sublevel and everything above it. The ultimate test was only just beginning. The shadows whispered secrets older than memory, curling around us like smoke we could almost touch. The chamber pulsed, alive with a rhythm that Aaron could feel in his chest. Threads of silver light wrapped through the dark pool, weaving into the massive shadow that hovered just beneath the surface. Every pulse resonated through the Leviathan, which coiled protectively, responding to Leo's subtle gestures. Mira stepped forward, hesitant. Sir, it's like the walls themselves are breathing. I can feel it in my bones. They are, Aaron admitted quietly, voice taut, and the presence beneath is testing him, probing every intention, every heartbeat. We must be careful. One wrong move. He didn't finish the sentence, letting the silence carry the weight. Leo's small hands moved with purpose, guiding the silver threads over the surface. The shadow responded, fluid yet deliberate, stretching and coiling, testing the lattice. The vibrations in the chamber intensified, creating a resonance older than language, older than thought. I can feel it listening, Leo whispered. Not judging, not attacking, just waiting for me to show my intent. The Leviathan's protective lattice expanded in tandem, every coil and ripple synchronizing with the child's heartbeat. Sparks flickered from broken conduits, casting erratic reflections across the walls. The carvings, ancient and delicate, seemed to pulse with the energy in the room. Aaron exhaled slowly. A child is commanding a force older than the mansion itself. And it listens. Mira bit her lip, eyes wide. It's testing him again. Harder this time. I can feel the tension in the air. Leo's gaze never wavered. It is not testing to harm, only to understand. We must show patience and unity. If you kundung on the wurg, the pool's surface shimmered violently as the shadow stretched higher, probing the threads of silver light. The Leviathan shifted, coiling tighter, anticipating danger while holding the child and Mira in safety. Vibrations rolled through the chamber, echoing through the tunnels, through the mansion, through the foundations beneath. Aaron whispered, awestruck, he's not controlling it, he's conversing. Through intent, through heartbeat, through presence. It obeys because it trusts him. The shadow pulsed in response. Massive. Fluid. Deliberate, yet yielding to the child's subtle guidance. Threads of silver light and darkness intertwined, forming a responsive lattice that enveloped the chamber, the Leviathan, and the child. Mira exhaled sharply. It's like reality itself is bending to him. Or maybe he's bending to reality. Leo's small voice was calm, steady. We are merging. We must unite fully with the core. Only then can the bond withstand the others. Aaron's pulse quickened. The creatures above can't reach us while this bond holds? Leo shook his head. Not while the lattice is strong. The bond protects us, shields us, and listens to me. That's all that matters right now. The chamber vibrated again, threads of silver light weaving deeper into the dark mass beneath. The shadow moved with measured caution, coiling and twisting, responding to Leo's heartbeat. Sparks flew from broken conduits, but the protective lattice absorbed the energy, forming a seamless shield around them. Mira whispered, awestruck. It's shaping everything around it, or maybe it's reshaping itself to align with him. Aaron exhaled slowly. Awe and tension coiling in his chest. He's guiding it, not commanding. Listening, and it listens. The shadow beneath the pool stretched further, coiling, massive yet deliberate. Vibrations filled the chamber, echoing through the walls, resonating through the Leviathan, connecting to every heartbeat in the room. Leo's small hands moved with precision. We must unify completely. Only together can we withstand the others and endure the trials. Aaron swallowed hard. Then we do it. Together, one heartbeat at a time. The threads of silver light dove deeper into the shadow, pulsing in harmony with the child's heartbeat. The Leviathan mirrored every subtle motion, expanding the protective lattice across the chamber. Sparks flickered across the floor, reflected in the lattice of light and shadow, revealing glimpses of the intricate carvings etched centuries ago. The shadow pulsed again, massive and fluid, entwining with the silver haze. Its immense form coiled protectively, forming a responsive network that enveloped the chamber. Leo's voice, quiet but resolute, cut through the vibrations. We are one. Child, Leviathan, and ancient presence. United. Was it Oz? Was it Oz? Was it Oz? Aaron whispered, awestruck, we're witnessing a bond older than time, alive in his hands. And it listens. The vibrations surged, resonating outward, threads of light and shadow intertwining seamlessly, forming a lattice that covered every inch of the chamber. The Leviathan expanded its protective cocoon, holding child, entity, and chamber in balance. Sparks from broken conduits illuminated the lattice, revealing glimpses of carvings untouched for centuries. Deep in the darkness, the ancient presence watched. Immense, patient, deliberate, it pulsed in acknowledgement of the child, guiding it, responding to intent, absorbing the rhythm, merging with the lattice. Leo shivered slightly. Papa. It knows me. Truly knows me. It's see? Aaron nodded, voice taut with tension and awe. Then we follow, and prepare for the trials ahead. Whatever comes next, we face it together. The silver haze flared brighter than ever. The Leviathan coiled tighter, and the ancient entity below awaited the child's next move. A symphony of shadow, light, and unimaginable power poised to reshape the sublevel and everything above it. The true test was only beginning. The first footsteps were soft, almost polite, but they carried the weight of something dangerous, deliberate, inevitable. The chamber's lattice of silver light and shadow pulsed, harmonizing with Leo's heartbeat. The Leviathan coiled protectively, senses alert, while the ancient entity below seemed to watch, waiting for the next move. Silence pressed in from every corner, heavy and expectant. Aaron's hand hovered near Leo's shoulder, not touching, not wanting to disturb the fragile balance. It knows we're here. And something else is coming. Mira swallowed hard, ears straining. I feel it too. There's a presence above, moving, not human, but precise, calculated, end quote. Leo's small hands trace the threads over the pool, silver light coiling into the darkness. The bond holds, but I can sense their approach. They're testing us. A distant vibration echoed through the tunnels, a soft, metallic tick, rhythmic, deliberate. Sparks of unease crawled down Aaron's spine. The first intruder, or the first wave of them. The Leviathan's coils tightened around the chamber, responding instantly to Leo's pulse. Shadows danced along the walls as silver light rippled, forming protective layers, invisible yet palpable. Every inch of the chamber vibrated with energy, an unspoken warning to the approaching threat. Mira whispered, almost to herself, "They think this is empty. They have no idea." Aaron didn't answer, eyes scanning the faint shadows beyond the lattice. The metallic tick grew louder, echoing in an almost musical rhythm, ominous, deliberate, resonating with the vibration of the chamber itself. Leo's gaze narrowed. They are testing the boundaries, but they are not yet ready to strike fully. We can prepare. One quote and salve, we can prepare. From the darkness above, a ripple of movement flickered, subtle, almost imperceptible. Then, another, footsteps, measured, synchronized, but not human metallic clicks intertwined with soft, wet slithers, an eerie symphony of precision and intent. Aaron's breath caught. It's them, the others. They've found the sublevel, and, well, first, the silver haze flared, threads of light coiling like serpents, intertwining with the shadow below. The Leviathan mirrored every pulse, tightening the lattice, reinforcing protective zones. Sparks from broken conduits danced across the walls, illuminating fleeting glimpses of the intruder's forms half visible in the flickering reflections. Mira gasped. I can't tell if they're machines or alive. Something in between. They're neither fully mechanical nor entirely organic, Aaron whispered. They've adapted, evolved, and they're patient predators. Leo's small hands traced the lattice, guiding threads with precision. We face them together. The bond will hold, focus, and listen. Not just with ears, but with everything. The first intruder stepped into the chamber. Its form was sleek, almost liquid in movement, metallic sheen catching the erratic sparks from the broken conduits. It paused, sensing, analyzing. The Leviathan's coils shifted, creating an invisible shield between the child and the threat. Aaron's hand clenched into a fist. Stay calm, follow his lead. Mira nodded, eyes wide. I can feel the tension in the air. It's alive, sir. It's like it can read us. Leo's voice, small but resolute, echoed through the lattice. It senses fear, but it cannot breach trust. Not while the bond is strong. Where Lake stood. The intruder tilted its head, scanning, then moved forward with precision. Metallic ticks blended with subtle hisses, steps measured, deliberate, a rhythm that pressed against the chamber's vibrations. The shadow below stirred, coiling protectively, pulsating in response to the intruder's presence. Suddenly, sparks from the broken conduits ignited a minor surge, sending ripples across the silver threads. The Leviathan shifted instantly, reinforcing the protective lattice, pulsing with Leo's heartbeat. Mira whispered, voice tight with fear. It's reacting to him. Not to us, not to me. Only to him. Aaron nodded, jaw tight. Exactly. The child guides it. The bond protects us all. But we can't underestimate them. Not 1 second. The intruder stepped closer, metallic limbs extending, testing, prodding. Each movement sent subtle vibrations through the chamber. The shadow coiled tighter, moving with intention, a silent guardian responding to Leo's subtle commands. Leo's small hands danced over the lattice, guiding, weaving. We must unify fully. Only then will the bond withstand the assault. Aaron felt his pulse sync with the vibrations, feeling the rhythm, the flow, the subtle heartbeat of the lattice, as if it were alive. Sparks from broken conduits illuminated fleeting glimpses of the intruder's form. Sleek, predatory, but hesitant. Mira whispered, Awe and fear mingled in her tone. It's like the chamber itself is alive, protecting him, protecting all of us. The intruder hissed softly, metallic clicks blending with wet, organic sounds. Its form shifted, adapting, testing boundaries, analyzing weaknesses. The shadow responded instantly, coiling protectively, merging with the silver threads, a living lattice reinforced by the Leviathan. Leo's small voice carried calm authority. We do not fight recklessly. We guide, we listen. The bond is our shield. Aaron's jaw tightened. Then we trust him. Every heartbeat, every pulse. The intruder lunged, sleek form striking toward the lattice. Sparks erupted where light met shadow, threads bending, pulsating, resisting, reshaping instantly to absorb and repel the force. The Leviathan's coils flared, expanding energy outward, stabilizing the lattice. Mira's eyes were wide with awe. It's like watching a living symphony, every movement, perfectly synchronized. Leo's hands moved faster, guiding the lattice, weaving through the attack, connecting shadow, light, and Leviathan into a seamless protective cocoon. The intruder recoiled slightly, reassessing, its sleek metallic form twisting fluidly. Aaron's pulse raced. He's controlling it, but not forcing it. He's commanding only with intent, with focus, with trust. Isolde, we have. The intruder struck again, more aggressively, metallic limbs slicing through the lattice. But each attempt met the fluid resistance of coiled shadows and pulsating silver threads. Sparks flew, walls vibrated, and yet the lattice held, protective, responsive, alive. Mira whispered, almost in wonder. It listens to him, and it obeys. Leo's small hands guided the final movements. We unify fully. Only then will the bond hold. Only then will we endure. The lattice surged, threads of silver, light wrapping fully around the shadow, the Leviathan, and the chamber. Vibrations echoed outward, enveloping the intruder, forcing it to recoil, adapting, testing but unable to break through. Aaron exhaled slowly, tension draining slightly. The first wave is repelled, but more are coming. We can feel it in their rhythm. Mira nodded, eyes still wide. But we survived. And it listened. Only him. Only the child. Leo's gaze was steady, unwavering. We will survive, together, and we will face them all, with the bond intact. The chamber pulsed in response, threads of silver light intertwining seamlessly with shadow. The Leviathan coiled tighter, protective, ready for the next strike. Sparks from broken conduits flickered, casting brief illumination across the ancient carvings, which seemed to shimmer with new life. From the darkness above, other intruders paused, sensing the failed assault. Metallic ticks and wet hisses echoed faintly, a prelude to the coming storm. The shadow below and the lattice of light pulsed in unison, waiting, preparing, watching. Aaron exhaled, voice taut with awe and tension. The true battle has only begun, and we are ready. Leo's small voice whispered, calm and resolute. They will not break the bond. They will not breach trust. Not while we hold together. End quote. SGA, where Zastier, 2-4, Tenchel, Frun, Weather Waiter, one we hold together. SGA was, where Zastier. The first intruder retreated, analyzing, returning to the darkness above, and the chamber fell into tense silence once more. But Aaron, Mira, and Leo knew it was only temporary. The tests were beginning, and the true storm was approaching. The bond held for now, but the crescendo of challenges had only just begun. Even in the quiet, the air felt charged, like a storm waiting just beyond the walls. The chamber thrummed with residual energy, the silver threads of light still rippling through the shadowed pool. Leo's hands hovered over the lattice, small and deliberate, sensing the faint tremors of the retreating intruders. Every pulse resonated through the Leviathan's coiled body, reinforcing the protective barrier. Aaron exhaled slowly, scanning the walls, the ceiling, even the floor. They didn't give up. This was only reconnaissance. A probe. The real assault will come soon. Mira's lips pressed together. And we'll be ready. He's more than I imagined. The bond is real. Leo's gaze remained fixed on the pool, silver light weaving through the dark mass beneath. The bond is stronger than fear, stronger than anger. It listens because it trusts. And we must honor that trust. The vibrations in the chamber shifted subtly, not the familiar rhythm of the lattice, but something deeper, an undercurrent, barely perceptible, as if the earth itself were stirring. Sparks flickered from the broken conduits, casting erratic shadows that danced along the carvings. Aaron frowned, sensing the shift. It's not just above. Something is moving below as well. The presence beneath. It's restless. Mira's eyes widened. Restless? After everything we've done, it's still unsettled? Leo's small hands traced the lattice again. Slower this time. Thoughtful. It is ancient. Patience is not weakness. It watches, learns, weighs intentions. We must be steady. Every heartbeat counts. The chamber pulsed, subtle vibrations rolling through the stone floor. The shadow beneath the pool shifted slightly, enormous coils undulating, testing the lattice's boundaries. The Leviathan adjusted instantly, tightening its protective embrace, responding to Leo's heartbeat and movements. Aaron whispered, "It's teaching him, preparing him, not just defending. Every pulse, every shift, is a lesson. If you have defending, I see just not to setters. And I'm sever days, on the rating Hn, on the rating 1. Suddenly, a faint metallic scrape echoed from above, quick and deliberate. Mira froze. They're back, and more cautious this time. Listening. Waiting. Leo's gaze flicked upward, small hands still weaving the lattice. They sense the bond, but they cannot breach it, not yet. Man, you're the stars, BK. Man, you're Fran, you're fire, Wensai, you're fire, Enstrun. The intruders emerged. Partial glimpses catching sparks off the broken conduits, sleek, adaptive forms, their movements fluid, almost unnatural. The metallic ticks and wet hisses of their approach blended into the chamber's vibrations. Aaron tensed. This time they'll come in force. We need every coil, every thread in perfect synchronization. Mira whispered, voice tight. I've never felt anything like this. It's alive. All of it. Leo's small hands moved deliberately, guiding the lattice, reinforcing threads of light and shadow. The Leviathan coiled tighter, protective and vigilant. Sparks danced, illuminating glimpses of ancient carvings that shimmered faintly with residual energy. The intruders paused at the edge of the lattice, scanning, assessing, testing. Metallic clicks echoed in rhythm with subtle hisses, a menacing symphony of calculation. The shadow beneath responded instantly. Massive coils undulating, reinforcing protective threads of silver light. Aaron whispered, almost to himself, they're patient predators. Evolved, precise. But the child's bond holds stronger than they expect. Leo's small voice, calm yet commanding, carried across the chamber. We do not attack, we guide, we defend. The bond is our shield, our answer. The intruders advanced, sleek forms, slicing through flickering sparks, moving with precision, striking at the lattice with rapid, fluid motions. Threads of silver light bent, coiled, absorbed the impact, pulsing in harmony with Leo's heartbeat. The Leviathan mirrored every movement, forming a living wall of protection. Mira gasped. It's like a dance. Every strike is countered but not destroyed. Every movement is anticipated. Aaron's pulse synced with the lattice, awe and tension coiling in his chest. He's commanding nothing, guiding everything. And it listens. The intruders intensified their assault. Metallic limbs struck again and again, faster, sharper, testing the limits of the lattice. Sparks flew, walls vibrated, and shadows shifted dynamically to absorb the force. The Leviathan adjusted instantaneously, coils expanding and contracting, pulsating with Leo's heartbeat. Leo's small hands guided the lattice with precision. Focus, intention, trust. The bond is stronger than fear, stronger than doubt. For me, hard. The largest intruder, sleek and metallic, lunged, attempting to breach the heart of the lattice. Sparks erupted, threads of light bending, shifting, twisting, yet remaining unbroken. The shadow beneath coiled violently, protective and responsive, merging with silver threads to form an impenetrable barrier. Aaron gritted his teeth, watching in awe. The bond. It's beyond control. It's understanding, responding, not obeying, alive. Mira whispered, almost reverently. It listens to him, and only him, only the child. Leo's gaze never wavered. We unify fully, only together can we endure what comes next. When fiver disrum. Anaifike. The lattice surged with energy, silver threads wrapping fully around the shadow, the Leviathan, and the chamber. Vibrations echoed outward, forcing intruders to recoil, adapt, retreat, yet unable to break through. Sparks illuminated fleeting glimpses of carvings that shimmered with the pulse of the lattice. Aaron exhaled slowly. The first wave has been held, but more will come. They are testing, probing, searching for weakness. Mira nodded, eyes wide. But we survived. And he guided it all. Only him. Leo's small hands continued weaving, small adjustments, small corrections. The bond holds. And it will endure. We face them together, always together. And so, the chamber pulsed in resonance, shadows and silver threads intertwining perfectly. The Leviathan coiled tighter, protective, responsive, ready. Sparks flickered across the walls and floor, illuminating symbols and carvings that had lain untouched for centuries, now alive with energy. Above, the intruders paused, sensing the failed assault. Metallic clicks and wet hisses resonated faintly, calculating, strategizing. The shadow below pulsed in response. Threads of silver light bending, reshaping, adapting. Aaron whispered, awestruck, the true test is only beginning. And we are ready. Leo's small voice carried calmly through the chamber. They will not break the bond. They cannot breach trust. Not while we hold together. The intruders receded temporarily, moving into the darkness above. The chamber fell silent, but the tension remained a quiet storm lingering, the promise of the trials ahead vibrating in the stone and the lattice. Mira exhaled, voice trembling with relief and awe. It's alive. The bond, it's alive, and he's part of it. Aaron's eyes never left the lattice, silver threads shimmering over the dark pool. And whatever comes next, we face it as one, heartbeat, shadow, and light. The chamber thrummed softly, the Leviathan coiled protectively, the shadow beneath responsive, and Leo's small hands guided the lattice with unwavering calm. Sparks flickered, illuminating ancient carvings as though the past itself were witnessing the bond. Outside, the first storm of intruders regrouped, preparing for the next wave. Inside, the bond pulsed, unbroken, alive, awaiting the next test. The crescendo of trials had begun, and the chamber held its breath, waiting for the storm to fall. Even when silence returned, the air trembled with the promise of chaos yet to arrive. The chamber's pulse lingered, a subtle hum woven into the stone and shadows. Leo's hands hovered above the lattice, tiny fingers tracing invisible patterns in the silver threads. The Leviathan coiled protectively, muscles tensing with every heartbeat, ready for movement. Aaron exhaled, voice low. They've retreated. But they're not gone. This lull is deceptive. Mira's eyes remained wide, scanning the chamber. It's too quiet. My skin feels like it's listening to something I can't see or hear. Leo's gaze flicked upward, still focused on the lattice. The bond senses everything, but calm and patience are our weapons now. Every heartbeat counts, even in stillness. The shadows shifted subtly, responding to the faintest tremors of movement. Sparks flickered sporadically from the broken conduits, illuminating the carvings etched centuries ago, symbols that now seemed to vibrate in quiet resonance with the lattice. Aaron leaned closer, voice barely a whisper. It's teaching him patience and strategy, not just defense. Every pulse is a lesson, every shift a test. Mira nodded, unable to tear her gaze from the interplay of shadow and light. And it's listening, always listening. From the darkness above, a metallic whisper emerged, a soft, deliberate slide, almost imperceptible. Aaron tensed, They're circling, calculating, probing for weaknesses. Um, I can a. Leo's small hands adjusted the lattice, the silver threads pulsing subtly with his heartbeat. Let them come. They may strike, but the bond is strong, and it will hold. The Leviathan coiled tighter, muscles rippling beneath its scaled skin. Sparks flickered, illuminating the massive shadow beneath the pool, which responded with slow, deliberate undulations. The lattice seemed alive, a fluid combination of light and shadow, responding to every heartbeat, every subtle intention. Mira whispered, reverent, "It's beautiful, terrifying, alive." Aaron's eyes never left the edges of the chamber. "It's also dangerous. One misstep and..." He cut himself off, letting the quiet press in. The intruder's approach was subtle, almost surgical, their movements fluid, alien, yet precise. Suddenly, the metallic whispers escalated into deliberate strikes, light, fast, probing attempts at the lattice. Sparks erupted where silver threads met shadow, the vibration echoing through the chamber. Leo's voice was calm, measured. "We do not retaliate blindly. We guide. We reinforce, trust the bond." The Leviathan flared in response, expanding coils, pressing against the intrusions. Each pulse, each movement of the lattice seemed to anticipate the next strike, absorbing energy, redirecting it, forming a protective rhythm. Mira's voice trembled. "I can feel it, like it's alive. Not just protecting him, protecting all of us." Aaron's hand hovered near Leo, not touching, not needing to. He's doing it all, guiding it all, and it obeys because it trusts him. The intruders adjusted mid-strike, analyzing, adapting. Metallic limbs flicked and twisted with uncanny precision, but each move was met with fluid resistance. Threads bending but never breaking, shadow coiling protectively. Leo's small hands danced over the lattice. Focus, intention, heartbeat. The bond responds, only to clarity of purpose. Aaron's pulse synced with the vibrations, feeling the rhythm of the chamber, of the Leviathan, of the ancient shadow. Sparks illuminated fleeting glimpses of the carvings, each symbol now humming faintly, almost alive. The intruders escalated, moving faster, sharper. Metallic limbs struck with surgical precision. The shadow beneath undulated violently, responding instantly, merging with the lattice in a protective cocoon. Mira gasped, voice tight. "It's like a living symphony, every strike countered, every movement anticipated." Leo's voice, small but unwavering, echoed across the chamber. "The bond is our shield. Not fear, not force, but understanding, unity, and trust." The largest intruder lunged directly at the pool, metallic limbs slicing through the silver threads. Sparks flared violently. The lattice bent, twisted, yet remained intact. The Leviathan coiled aggressively, protective and responsive. Aaron whispered, awestruck, "He's not controlling it. He's conversing, guiding, not commanding, and it listens." Mira's breath caught. "Only him. It obeys only him." Leo's hands moved faster, weaving the lattice, connecting shadow, light, and Leviathan into a seamless protective rhythm. The chamber hummed, vibrations echoing outward, threads of silver light reinforcing every angle. The intruder recoiled, assessing, adjusting, and struck again. Sparks flew, walls vibrated, shadows twisted dynamically to absorb the impact. Each attempt met with fluid, instantaneous defense. Aaron exhaled slowly. The bond. It's beyond control. Beyond strategy. Alive. Understanding. Responding. Mira whispered, awestruck, "It listens, only to him. And he's guiding it perfectly." Leo's gaze was steady, calm, determined. "We unify fully. Only together can we endure the trials ahead." The lattice surged, silver threads wrapping completely around the shadow, Leviathan, and chamber. Vibrations radiated outward, forcing intruders to retreat, though they adapted, testing, probing, calculating. Sparks danced across the floor and walls, illuminating ancient carvings now resonating faintly with energy. Aaron exhaled slowly. "The wave is held, but more will come. They are persistent, patient, adaptive predators, Mira nodded, eyes wide. But we survived. And he guided it all, only him. Leo's small hands continued weaving, subtle adjustments, minor corrections. The bond holds. And it will endure. Together. Always together. The chamber pulsed with resonance, shadows and silver threads intertwining perfectly. The Leviathan coiled tighter, protective and alert. Sparks flickered across the walls, highlighting ancient symbols that shimmered faintly as if recognizing the child's presence. Above, the intruders regrouped, pausing, calculating, preparing for the next assault. The shadow beneath pulsed, threads of silver light bending, reshaping, anticipating. Aaron whispered, awe and tension coiled in his chest. The true challenge is only beginning. But we are ready. Leo's small voice, calm and resolute, carried through the chamber. They will not break the bond. They cannot breach trust. Not while we hold together. The intruders receded momentarily, fading into the darkness above. The chamber fell silent, but the tension remained a quiet storm suspended, the promise of trials to come vibrating in stone, shadow, and silver light. Mira exhaled, trembling. It's alive. The bond. It's alive. And he's part of it. Aaron's eyes never left the lattice, silver threads still rippling across the dark pool. And whatever comes next, we face it as one. Heartbeat, shadow, and light. The chamber hummed softly, Leviathan coiled protectively, the shadow beneath responsive, and Leo's small hands guided the lattice with unwavering calm. Sparks flickered, illuminating ancient carvings that seemed to shimmer with life itself. Outside, the storm of intruders gathered, preparing for the next wave. Inside, the bond pulsed, unbroken, alive, waiting. The trials had begun, and the chamber held its breath, bracing for the storm to fall. A single whisper in the dark carried more weight than the loudest scream could ever hold. That donakdat. The chamber's silver threads shivered under Leo's delicate guidance, rippling over the dark, undulating shadow below. The Leviathan's coils tightened protectively, every muscle synchronized with the rhythm of the lattice and the small heartbeat guiding it. Aaron's eyes scanned every flicker of movement, every spark from the damaged conduits. They're regrouping, strategizing, waiting for a moment of weakness. Mira swallowed hard. We can't let them sense fear. Not even for a heartbeat. Mater. Leo's gaze was focused, unwavering. Fear has no place here, only the bond, only intention, only trust. They cannot penetrate what is united. We have a... Hin opens. The shadows beneath the lattice shifted, restless, coiling like a predator testing boundaries. Sparks danced across the walls, revealing glimpses of ancient carvings, symbols that shimmered faintly in the chamber's residual light. Each flicker seemed to pulse in rhythm with the lattice. Aaron whispered, voice tense. It's alive in ways we don't understand. Teaching him, yes, but also protecting us. Responding, anticipating. Mira's eyes were wide, tracing the patterns of light and shadow. It's not just defense. It's alive. It's thinking. Feeling. Above, the intruders circled silently, their movements fluid, unnatural, metallic limbs glinting in flickering light. Their low, deliberate clicks echoed faintly, almost musical, intertwined with subtle wet hisses. A soundscape designed to unnerve, to test, to probe. Leo's small hands adjusted the lattice with calm precision. We do not strike blindly, we guide, we endure. The bond is our shield, trust it. The Leviathan coiled tighter, expanding, protective, responsive. Sparks erupted as the first intruder lunged. Metallic limbs slicing through threads of silver light. Yet each strike met a fluid, unyielding resistance. Shadow and lattice intertwined, absorbing, redirecting, neutralizing. Aaron's jaw tightened, awe coiling in his chest. It's beyond anything I've ever seen. Not controlled, but understanding, anticipating, alive. Mira whispered, voice trembling. It listens. Only to him. Only the child. Leo's gaze was unwavering, small hands dancing over the lattice, weaving threads of shadow and light into perfect unity. We unify fully. Only together can we withstand the storm. The intruders pressed harder, faster, more precise. Sparks flew, walls vibrated, shadows twisted dynamically to absorb the impact. The Leviathan responded instantaneously, coils adjusting, pulses intensifying, protective and alive. Aaron exhaled slowly. He's not commanding. He's conversing, guiding, not forcing. And it obeys. He's no have. Amen. The largest intruder struck again, attempting to breach the lattice's heart. Sparks exploded where silver threads met shadow, yet the structure held. The shadow beneath pulsed violently, the Leviathan tightening coils in response, forming a living, dynamic shield. Mira gasped, awestruck. It's like a symphony, every movement anticipated, every strike absorbed. Leo's small voice carried, calm, resolute. The bond is our answer, not fear, not force, but understanding, unity, trust. The intruder recoiled, assessing, recalibrating, striking again. Threads of silver light bent, shadow shifted, yet the lattice remained intact, pulsing with energy. Sparks illuminated fleeting glimpses of the carvings, symbols thrumming faintly, as if recognizing the child's presence. Aaron's pulse synced with the chamber, the Leviathan, the lattice. It's alive. And it understands him, responding, anticipating, protecting. Mira whispered, almost reverently. It listens to him, and no one else. Leo's hands moved with increased precision, guiding threads, reinforcing the lattice, connecting shadow, light, and Leviathan into a seamless rhythm. The chamber thrummed, vibrating with controlled energy, every motion a counter to the intruder's probing. The intruder lunged, faster, sharper, attempting a breach at the heart of the lattice. Sparks flared violently, walls quivering. Shadow undulated violently beneath. Threads of silver light bending but not breaking. Protective and responsive. Aaron's voice was quiet, taut with awe. It's beyond control. Beyond strategy. Alive. Understanding. Responding. Mira's breath caught. Only him. Only the child. Leo's gaze was calm, determined. Together, only together, can we endure what is coming. The lattice surged, wrapping fully around shadow, Leviathan, and chamber. Vibrations radiated outward, forcing intruders to retreat, their calculations failing against the unbroken rhythm of the bond. Sparks flickered, illuminating carvings that shimmered faintly, alive with recognition. Aaron exhaled, tension coiling in his chest. They are patient, adaptive. The wave is held, but they will return. Stronger, more cunning. Mira nodded, awe mixed with fear. We survived, and he guided it all. Only him. Leo's small hands adjusted, subtle, precise. The bond holds. Always, together. Always together. The chamber pulsed, shadows and threads of silver intertwined, Leviathan coiled protective and ready. Sparks flickered, ancient carvings glowing faintly in recognition of the child's presence. Above, the intruders regrouped, assessing, planning. The shadow beneath pulsed with anticipation, threads bending and reshaping. Aaron whispered, voice tight with tension and awe. The true trial is beginning. But we are ready. Leo's small voice echoed, calm, resolute. They will not break the bond. They cannot breach trust. Not while we hold together. The intruders receded into darkness above. The chamber fell into tense silence, a quiet storm lingering, promising trials yet to come. Mira exhaled, trembling, eyes wide. It's alive. The bond. It's alive. And he's part of it. And he's in states. And he's part of it. Aaron's gaze never left the lattice, silver threads still rippling across the dark pool. And whatever comes next, we face it as one. Heartbeat, shadow, and light. The chamber thrummed softly. Leviathan coiled protectively, shadow pulsed responsively, and Leo's small hands guided the lattice with unwavering calm. Sparks flickered, illuminating ancient carvings, shimmering faintly with recognition. Outside, the intruders gathered, preparing the next wave. Inside, the bond pulsed, unbroken, alive. The storm had begun, and the chamber held its breath, waiting for the true test to fall. A distant tremor whispered of danger yet unseen, making even silence feel alive. The chamber held its breath. The silver threads of the lattice shimmered faintly, pulsing with the rhythm of Leo's heartbeat. Each pulse resonated through the shadow below, coiling the Leviathan tighter around the child. Sparks flickered across broken conduits, momentarily illuminating the carvings etched into the walls centuries ago. Aaron crouched low, scanning every subtle shift. They've circled back. Their patience is tactical. They're waiting for the moment of vulnerability. So they conically, Effer, they're waiting for the moment of vulnerability. Mira's hand trembled as she traced the edge of the lattice. It's too quiet. My skin feels like it's listening, anticipating something we can't perceive. Leo's gaze remained steady. His small fingers traced patterns over the silver threads, subtle and deliberate. The bond senses it all. Fear will make it falter. Trust sustains it. A faint metallic hiss cut through the air, almost imperceptible, yet chilling. The intruders were no longer merely testing, they were probing, striking at the lattice with uncanny precision. Sparks erupted where metal met light, and the shadow beneath rippled in response. Aaron whispered, voice taut, "This is not an attack, it's a calculation. They study, adapt, learn." Mira swallowed, heart tight. And yet, it obeys him. Only him. Leo's small voice echoed calmly, unwavering. "We do not act out of fear. We guide, we endure. The bond will protect us." The Leviathan's coils expanded, shadow and silver threads intertwining into an almost imperceptible rhythm of defense. Every strike from the intruders, quick, precise, metallic, was countered by fluid, instantaneous adjustments. Sparks flared, casting ephemeral light across carvings that seemed to shimmer with recognition of the child's presence. Aaron's pulse synced with the chamber's vibrations. It is alive, but not controlled. It understands, it anticipates, it responds. Mira whispered, awestruck, "It listens, only to him." Suddenly, a larger intruder lunged, metallic limbs slicing through the lattice toward the heart of the chamber. Sparks flew violently, threads bending but holding. The Leviathan coiled aggressively, responding instinctively, forming a protective barrier that merged with the silver lattice. Leo's small hands moved faster, weaving threads seamlessly. The bond is stronger than fear, stronger than doubt. We endure together. The intruder recoiled, paused, then adapted, striking again with rapid precision. Sparks erupted where light and shadow collided. The chamber vibrated under the assault, yet the lattice remained intact, pulsing in harmony with Leo's heartbeat. Aaron whispered, awe lacing his voice, "He's not commanding, he's conversing with it, guiding, not forcing, and it listens, alive, understanding." Mira's breath caught. Only him, only the child. Another tremor ran through the chamber. A subtle undercurrent, almost imperceptible, emanated from deep beneath the stone floors. The shadow beneath stirred violently, coils undulating with sudden urgency. The intruders hesitated mid-strike, sensing the shift in the chamber's energy. Leo's voice was steady, precise. Together, only together, can we endure what comes next. The lattice surged, silver threads wrapping tighter, merging with the Leviathan's coils. Sparks illuminated ancient carvings that now pulsed faintly in resonance. The chamber's energy amplified, a subtle hum reverberating in the stone itself, as if acknowledging the child's command. The intruders pressed harder, faster, striking at the lattice's core. Sparks flew like miniature lightning, shadows twisting dynamically to absorb impacts. The Leviathan adjusted instantaneously, protective and responsive. Aaron exhaled slowly, awe coiling in his chest. It's beyond control, beyond strategy. Alive, anticipating, responding. Mira whispered, voice tight with wonder. It listens. Only to him. Always only him. Leo's hands moved delicately yet deliberately, weaving the lattice, connecting shadow, light, and Leviathan, into a seamless defensive rhythm. The chamber pulsed with energy, vibrating with controlled intensity. Suddenly, a metallic scrape echoed from the far end of the chamber, a different rhythm, sharper, deliberate. Sparks flickered violently as a new intruder emerged, larger, more menacing. Its form shifted constantly, limbs folding and twisting in angles impossible to predict. Aaron's eyes widened. This is different. They've evolved, adapted, something new. And if you are sustains into that, we have to have example Connor and Sears on the back to bout of the seamen, or the Sangers and the seamen. Mira's voice trembled. And it's coming for him. Leo's gaze remained calm, small hands guiding the lattice. The bond holds. Only together can we endure. Only together can we protect. The Leviathan coiled with heightened intensity, shadow pulsing, silver threads bending and flexing in a perfect rhythm. Sparks illuminated the new intruder, revealing a fluid metallic surface that seemed almost alive, responding to the chamber's energy. The intruder lunged. Faster, sharper, attempting a breach at the lattice's core. Sparks exploded where silver threads met shadow, yet the structure held. The Leviathan responded instantly, coils tightening, defensive yet adaptive. Aaron whispered, awe and fear intertwined. He's not controlling it. He's speaking to it, guiding it. Alive, listening, responding. Mira gasped, trembling. Only him, only the child. Leo's hands moved with quiet precision, weaving and reinforcing the lattice. We endure. We protect. Together. Always. Together. He was not a fress. The chamber pulsed violently as the intruder adapted mid-strike, shifting its attack pattern. Sparks erupted, shadows twisted, the lattice bending but not breaking. The Leviathan's coils rippled, responding instantaneously, protective and alive. Aaron's pulse synced with the chamber, awe coiling in his chest. It's not fear, not force, it's understanding. Alive, protective, responsive. Mira whispered, almost reverently. It listens, only to him. Suddenly, a tremor ran through the floor. The intruder froze mid-lunge, metallic limbs quivering as the chamber's energy shifted violently. The shadow beneath roared subtly, coils undulating with sudden urgency, merging with the lattice to form a living, reactive wall. Leo's voice carried calm authority, small yet resolute. Together, the bond is our shield. It will endure, trust it. Sparks danced wildly, illuminating carvings that pulsed faintly as if awakening from centuries of slumber. The intruder recoiled, adapting, striking again, but each attack met instant counterbalance. Aaron exhaled, awe and tension entwined. The wave is held, but more will come. Persistent, adaptive, calculating. Mira nodded, breath tight, eyes wide. But we survived, and he guided it all, only him. When 9... Leo's hands moved subtly, reinforcing, guiding, merging shadow, light, and Leviathan into a seamless defensive rhythm. The bond holds. Always. Together, always together. The chamber pulsed. Silver threads shimmering, shadows coiling. Leviathan ready. Sparks illuminated ancient carvings that seemed alive, resonating faintly with recognition. Outside, the intruders gathered, calculating. Inside, the bond pulsed, unbroken, alive, responsive. The storm had begun in earnest. The chamber held its breath, awaiting the trials that would test the bond like never before. A crack in the silence echoed louder than 1,000 storms, warning that nothing here was permanent. Why? End quote. The chamber shivered with tension. Leo's hands hovered above the lattice, tracing precise, deliberate patterns. The Leviathan coiled beneath him, muscles taut, eyes gleaming faintly in the dim light. Sparks flickered across broken conduits, momentarily illuminating the carvings that now seemed almost sentient, responding to the pulse of the lattice. Aaron crouched beside Mira, eyes scanning the edges of the chamber. They've changed. Their approach, it's no longer just probing, they're hunting. Calculating the exact point to strike, Mira swallowed, voice tight. It feels alive. The air itself is alive. and it's watching. Leo's small voice cut through the tension, calm and deliberate. The bond senses all. We must remain steady. Fear will weaken it. Doubt will fracture it. Only unity protects. For the part of Awaden, we have seen, end quote. We have Awaden, we have seen Whedon, we have Awaden, we have seen Whedon, we have seen Whedon, we have Awaden, we have seen Whedon, quote. We have seen Whedon, we have seen Whedon. A metallic rasp echoed faintly above, subtle but precise. The intruder's movements had evolved, limbs folding and twisting with unnatural angles, shifting faster than the eye could track. Sparks erupted where they struck the lattice, each one met with the fluid, instantaneous counter-movement of shadow and silver threads. Aaron whispered, awe, lacing his words. They're not attacking. They're studying, adapting, calculating our weakest moment. Mira's breath caught. And yet, it obeys only him. Only him can guide it. To the Asians, with a bad, in the Fordas. Leo's hands moved deliberately, small fingers weaving the lattice into tighter, more intricate patterns. We endure, we guide. The bond protects us. Together, always together. We have mansas. We have mansas. The Leviathan stirred, coils tightening, pulsing with each heartbeat. Shadow and lattice merged, forming a living wall that flexed and shifted with preternatural speed. Sparks danced across the walls, illuminating ancient carvings that now shimmered as if recognizing the child's presence. From above, the largest intruder lunged. Its metallic limbs sliced through the lattice with surgical precision, sparks flying where threads met shadow. The Leviathan responded instantly, coils snapping into protective posture, shadow twisting to absorb the blow. Aaron's pulse synced with the chamber's vibrations. It's alive, not controlled, not commanded. It understands, anticipates, protects. Mira whispered, awestruck, only him, only the child can guide it. The intruder recoiled and adapted, striking again with rapid, deliberate motions. Sparks flared, illuminating fleeting glimpses of carvings that pulsed faintly with energy. The lattice bent and flexed, but did not break, threads moving with the rhythm of Leo's heartbeat. Leo's small voice rang calm, unwavering. The bond is stronger than fear, stronger than doubt. It holds because we believe. Together, always together. Suddenly, the floor trembled beneath the chamber. A low, resonant hum spread through the stone, vibrating against the walls, shaking dust from the ceiling. The intruders paused, sensing the shift in energy. The shadow beneath Leo surged violently, coils undulating, merging with silver threads to form an unbreakable barrier. Aaron's eyes widened. Something's coming from below, something bigger. The chamber itself is reacting. Mira gasped, clutching his sleeve. It's alive, too. The chamber feels alive. The intruders pressed harder, striking at the lattice's core. Sparks erupted violently, shadows twisting and contorting to absorb the impact. The Leviathan coiled with heightened intensity, protective yet reactive. Threads of silver light bent and flowed like liquid, forming a living weave. Leo's hands moved faster, small fingers precise, weaving each thread into harmony. Fear is useless. Trust in the bond, and we endure. Together, always together. The largest intruder lunged again, aiming for the lattice's heart. Sparks flew, walls vibrated, shadows twisted dynamically. The Leviathan responded instantaneously, coiling tighter, muscles rippling with controlled force. Aaron whispered, voice taut, awe laced with fear. He's not controlling it, he's guiding it, conversing with it. Alive, responsive, protective. Mira's breath caught. Only him, only the child can guide it. A sudden metallic screech erupted from above, louder, sharper, reverberating across the chamber. A new intruder descended, larger, more menacing, its form twisting unnaturally. Its metallic limbs flexed unpredictably, angles impossible to follow, and sparks erupted where it connected with threads of silver light. Aaron exhaled slowly, tension coiling in his chest. This is no longer a test. They've escalated, adapted, something new. Leo's gaze remained calm, small hands dancing across the lattice. The bond holds. Fear cannot breach it. Trust sustains it. Together, always together. The Leviathan coiled aggressively, shadow pulsing with urgency. Silver threads flexed and bent, meeting every strike with fluid resilience. Sparks illuminated carvings that now glowed faintly, alive with recognition, responding to the child's presence. The new intruder lunged at the lattice's heart. Sparks exploded where shadow and silver collided. The Leviathan tightened, coils snapping into protective alignment, shadow weaving instantly to absorb the assault. Aaron whispered, awe coiling with fear. He's not commanding, he's speaking to it, guiding, and it listens. Alive, understanding, protective. Mira gasped, trembling. Only him, only the child can guide it. Suddenly, a violent tremor ran through the chamber. The intruder froze mid-strike, metallic limbs quivering as the floor's hum intensified. Shadow surged, coils undulating violently, merging with the lattice to form a living wall that no attack could penetrate. Leo's small voice was calm yet resolute. Together. The bond is our shield. It endures. Trust it. Resolutura, or 217. Resolutor. Where that sock, were try to explain, where the prize est. Sparks erupted wildly, illuminating carvings that seemed to awaken from centuries of slumber. The intruder recoiled, readjusting, striking again, but each attack met instantaneous counterbalance. Aaron exhaled, tension and awe entwined. The wave is held, but more will come. They are persistent, adaptive, calculating. Mira nodded, breath tight, eyes wide. We survived, and he guided it all. Only him. Leo's hands moved subtly, reinforcing, guiding, merging shadow, light, and Leviathan into a seamless defensive rhythm. The bond holds. Always. Together. Always together. The chamber pulsed violently, silver threads shimmering, shadows coiling, Leviathan ready. Sparks illuminated ancient carvings that now throbbed faintly, alive and resonant. Outside, the intruders gathered, calculating, preparing for the next wave. Inside, the bond pulsed, unbroken, alive, reactive. The storm had escalated. The chamber held its breath, racing for the breach that would test every heartbeat, every thread, every ounce of trust. And the first real strike was coming, one that would shake the chamber and reveal truths none of them were prepared to face. A single shudder of stone reminded them that even the strongest defenses could fracture. The chamber trembled. Sparks flickered violently across the lattice, as Leo's small fingers danced over threads of silver light, weaving with precision and intent. The Leviathan coiled beneath him, muscles taut, shadow rippling with every pulse of his heartbeat. Aaron crouched nearby, jaw tight. They found a weakness, something we didn't anticipate. The rhythm shifted. Mira's hand trembled as she traced a silver thread. It's alive, but even living things can break if pushed too far. Leo's gaze remained calm. The bond protects. We endure together. Fear only fractures it. Trust sustains. One signs. One signs. One sign. One sign. One signs. 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 A metallic screech echoed from above, reverberating across the chamber. The largest intruder lunged, limbs twisting unnaturally, angles impossible to predict. Sparks erupted where it collided with the lattice, silver threads bending and contorting, shadow coiling in instant response. Aaron whispered, voice taut with fear and awe, "They're not just attacking, they're testing boundaries, seeking the heart." Mira's eyes widened, "And they're adapting faster than we can anticipate. Every strike, every movement, it's like they know our rhythm." Leo's hands moved faster, guiding the lattice into tighter patterns, silver threads intertwining with shadow and Leviathan. Together, only together can we endure. Only together can we protect. The intruder's strikes became more violent, more precise. Sparks flew like miniature lightning across the chamber, shadows twisting, coiling, flexing to meet each assault. The Leviathan tightened, muscles snapping in protective alignment, forming a dynamic living wall. Aaron exhaled slowly, awe mixed with tension. He's not controlling it. He's communicating. Guiding. Guiding. Aaron. Compersons. Compertus. On the plan. Compertus. Aaron. Aaron. Exhaled. Aaron. Alive. Responsive. Protective. Mira gasped, trembling. Only him. Only the child can guide it. Suddenly, a violent tremor ran through the floor. The intruder froze, mid-strike, metallic limbs quivering. The chamber itself seemed to respond, stone resonating, carvings pulsing with faint light. Shadow surged, coils undulating violently, merging with the lattice into a protective force that pushed back against the intruder. Leo's small voice carried calm authority. The bond is stronger than fear, stronger than doubt. It endures because we believe. Together, always together. Sparks flared, illuminating carvings that seemed to awaken from centuries of dormancy. The intruder recoiled, then lunged again, faster, sharper, striking at the lattice's heart. The Leviathan responded instantaneously, coiling, shadow twisting dynamically to absorb the blow. Silver threads bent but did not break. The chamber vibrated with controlled energy, pulsating in rhythm with Leo's heartbeat. Aaron whispered, all laced with fear. This isn't just defense. It's alive, aware, anticipating. Mira's breath caught. Only him. Only the child. The intruder adapted mid-strike, metallic limbs slicing unpredictably. Sparks erupted, shadows bending, Leviathan coiling with unerring precision. The lattice absorbed the assault, threads flexing and snapping back into perfect alignment with Leo's guidance. Suddenly, a portion of the lattice faltered, silver threads splitting under pressure. Sparks exploded, illuminating the chamber, and a shard of shadow twisted violently, forcing the Leviathan to respond aggressively. Aaron's eyes widened. They breached it, a fragment. But it's minimal. They'll test it, again and again. Mira whispered, voice tight. If they find the heart, everything could collapse. Leo's gaze remained calm, small hands working with increased intensity. The bond is unbreakable. If we hold together, always together. The intruder lunged with renewed force. Sparks flew, metallic limbs flexing at impossible angles. The chamber shook violently, vibrations resonating through the stone floors and walls. Shadow surged, coiling, merging with silver threads into a protective rhythm that moved as one with Leo's heartbeat. Aaron's pulse synced with the energy of the chamber. It's not command. It's conversation. Guidance. Understanding. Alive. Understanding. Alive. Mira gasped. It listens. Only to him. The intruder struck again, this time targeting the center of the lattice with precision that forced the Leviathan to coil aggressively, muscles tensing, shadow rippling violently. Sparks erupted where silver met shadow, illuminating carvings that pulsed with recognition of the child's presence. Leo's small voice rang, calm, resolute. Trust sustains the bond. Fear fractures it. We endure. Together, always together. Maxer, Maxer, we ever. Maxer, united. Maxer, we ever, we ever, we ever, we ever, nodding. We ever, 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 we ever. Suddenly, a loud metallic screech split the air as the intruder adapted mid-lunge, striking in a direction that forced a section of the lattice to splinter. Sparks flew in a chaotic storm, shadows twisting violently, Leviathan coiling, muscles straining to maintain defense. Aaron whispered, awe and tension coiled together. The breach, it's real. But the bond, it fights back. Alive, responsive, protective. Mira's eyes widened, trembling. Only him, only the child can hold it together. Leo's hands moved faster, weaving threads into the lattice with delicate precision. Silver light bent and flexed, shadow merged seamlessly with Leviathan, forming a living, reactive wall. Sparks danced across the chamber, illuminating carvings that seemed almost sentient, pulsing with recognition. The intruder hesitated mid-strike, assessing, recalculating. its metallic limbs flexed at unnatural angles, sparks erupting at every contact with the lattice. Shadow surged beneath Leo, coils undulating violently, merging with silver threads in a protective rhythm. Aaron exhaled slowly, tension and awe coiling together. He's not commanding. He's conversing, guiding, protecting, alive, understanding. I am says, I thanks for watching. Mira whispered, voice trembling. Only him. Only the child. Suddenly, the intruder lunged with terrifying speed, striking at the fractured lattice with an intensity that threatened to overwhelm the chamber. Sparks exploded, shadows twisted violently, and the Leviathan coiled with force, muscles straining. Leo's small voice cut through the chaos, calm and unwavering. The bond holds. Always. Together. Always together. The chamber pulsed violently. Silver threads bent. Shadow rippled. Leviathan tensed, and ancient carvings glowed with recognition of the child's presence. Sparks flew in chaotic brilliance, illuminating the faces of Aaron and Mira as they watched the defense in awe. The intruder struck again, this time breaching the lattice's core, a fragment tearing free. Sparks erupted in blinding flashes. Shadow surged, the Leviathan snapped into full defensive posture, coiling around the breach, merging with silver threads to form an unyielding wall. Aaron whispered, voice tight with awe, they've breached it, but not broken it. The bond fights back, alive, responsive, protective. Mira's breath caught. Only him. Only the child can hold it together. Mira's breath caught. Only the child can hold it together. Mira's breath caught. Only the child can hold it together. Leo's small hands moved delicately but swiftly, weaving broken threads back into the lattice. Shadow pulsed violently, Leviathan coiled tightly, and silver threads realigned seamlessly, forming a unified, protective rhythm. Sparks flickered across the chamber, illuminating carvings that pulsed with recognition. The intruder recoiled, reassessing, calculating new angles, its metallic limbs flexing unpredictably, but the bond held. Shadow, Leviathan, and lattice moved as one, responsive and alive. Aaron exhaled, awe and fear entwined. It's not control, it's guidance. Conversation. Alive, understanding, protecting. Mira whispered, trembling. Only him. Only the child can sustain it. The chamber fell into tense silence. Sparks smoldered, shadows rippled faintly, and the Leviathan coiled protectively. The intruder had retreated for now, regrouping, calculating the next wave. Leo's gaze remained calm, small hands resting lightly on the lattice. The bond endures. Fear cannot fracture it. Trust sustains it. Together. Always together. Remember the lattices for us. With parts or dispenses. Together. Way of dispenses. Way of dispenses. Way of dispenses. Way of dispenses. Way of... The storm had escalated beyond anticipation. The intruders had breached part of the chamber, revealing their true nature: adaptive, relentless, calculating. And yet, the bond responded, alive, protective, unbroken. And for the first time, Aaron and Mira realized the full scope of Leo's power, not as command, but as understanding, connection, and the unshakable rhythm of trust. Outside, shadows waited. Inside, the chamber pulsed, alive and ready. The next strike would test them all, pushing the bond to its ultimate limit. The air shivered, as if the chamber itself held its breath, waiting for the inevitable collision of will and force. The breach had left a scar in the lattice, a jagged fragment of silver threads dangling midair. Sparks erupted intermittently where Shadow tried to mend the fracture. Leo's small hands moved over the threads with uncanny precision, guiding, coaxing, weaving. Each movement pulsed in harmony with his heartbeat, and the Leviathan beneath responded instantly, muscles tensing and coiling like living armor. Aaron crouched beside Mira, voice tight. They're relentless, adaptive. Every strike, smarter than the last. And yet, his eyes widened as the lattice flexed, bending but not breaking. And yet it holds. Alive. Mira's hand rested on the edge of a fractured thread. It listens. Only to him. Only him can guide it. Leo's voice, small but unwavering, echoed softly through the chamber. Fear cannot fracture the bond. Only trust sustains it. Together, always together. 1. A low metallic hum began to vibrate through the stone floors. The intruders had regrouped. Their shadows flickered on the walls, twisting unnaturally, limbs contorting with angles that defied comprehension. Sparks flickered with every movement, each one meeting the lattice's instantaneous defensive responses. Aaron whispered, awe coiling with fear. They're not just attacking, they're learning, calculating, anticipating every reaction. Mira's breath caught, but it fights back. Alive. Responding. Protecting. The largest intruder lunged again, metallic limbs flexing unpredictably, slicing through the fractured lattice. Sparks erupted violently, where shadow collided with silver threads. The Leviathan coiled aggressively, muscles tensing, shadow twisting dynamically to absorb the assault. Leo's small hands moved faster, weaving broken threads into perfect harmony. Together, we endure. Together, we protect. Always together. A sudden tremor shook the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling as carvings pulsed faintly in response to the child's heartbeat. Shadow surged violently beneath Leo, coiling around the fracture, merging seamlessly with silver threads to form a living wall. Sparks danced, illuminating fleeting glimpses of carvings that shimmered as if awakening after centuries. Aaron whispered, voice taut, the chamber itself. It's alive. Responding to him. To the bond. To the pulse. Mira nodded, eyes wide. Only him, only the child can guide it. The intruder adapted mid-lunge, striking with faster, sharper precision. Sparks flared, shadows twisting violently, and the Leviathan coiled tighter, muscles snapping into protective alignment. The lattice bent but did not break, threads flowing fluidly as though alive, anticipating each assault. Leo's voice was calm, precise. The bond is unbroken, because we endure together. Trust sustains it. Fear fractures it. Together, always together. Aaron's pulse synced with the rhythm of the chamber. It's not control. It's understanding. Conversation. Alive. Protective. Mira whispered, trembling. Only him. Only the child can hold it together. The intruder lunged again, striking the lattice's heart with terrifying speed. Sparks exploded in blinding bursts, shadows twisted violently, and the Leviathan coiled around the breach, merging with silver threads to form an unyielding wall. Leo's small hands moved delicately, yet decisively, realigning threads, guiding the lattice back to perfect rhythm. Shadow pulsed, Leviathan tightened, and silver threads bent seamlessly, forming a unified, living shield. The intruder recoiled, assessing, recalculating. Sparks flared as metallic limbs flexed unpredictably. Shadow surged beneath Leo, coils undulating violently, merging with threads in a protective rhythm that responded instantly to the child's heartbeat. Aaron exhaled, awe coiling in his chest. It's not command, it's guidance, alive, responsive, protective. Mira's eyes widened, trembling. Only him, only the child. Suddenly, a violent quake ran through the chamber. The intruder froze mid-strike, metallic limbs quivering. Sparks danced chaotically as shadows twisted violently, Leviathan muscles tensed to their absolute limit. Leo's voice rang calm, resolute. The bond endures. Together, always together. Fear cannot break it. Trust sustains it. The chamber pulsed with energy. Silver threads shimmered, shadows coiled, Leviathan braced, and carvings glowed faintly, as if acknowledging the child's presence. Sparks erupted in blinding brilliance, illuminating Aaron and Mira's astonished faces. The intruder lunged again, striking with relentless force. Sparks flew, shadows twisted violently, and the lattice shivered under the assault. The Leviathan coiled protectively, merging with threads, forming a living rhythm that absorbed every blow. Aaron whispered, tension and awe entwined. The bond, it's alive, understanding, protective, responsive, only him, only the child. Mira's breath caught. It listens, only to him. It understands him, completely. In there's a reference, in the writing of audience, in the reference importance. Leo's small hands moved faster, weaving fractured threads into perfect harmony. Shadow pulsed, Leviathan tightened, Silver threads flexed seamlessly. The bond responded to his heartbeat, his intention, his will, yet not as control but as conversation, understanding, unity. Suddenly, the intruder's movements shifted. Its metallic limbs folded into impossible angles, sparks erupting, shadows twisting erratically. For the first time, it hesitated. The bond had pushed back harder than expected, stronger than it anticipated. Aaron's eyes widened. It's reacting, not just defending. It's asserting itself. Alive, adaptive, protective. Mira gasped, voice trembling. Only him, only the child could command such power without commanding it. Only him. Leo's small voice echoed, calm yet firm. Together, always together, the bond holds. Fear cannot fracture it. Trust sustains it. The intruder lunged one last time, striking at the lattice's fractured core with all its force. Sparks erupted in blinding chaos, shadows twisting violently, and the Leviathan snapped into full protective posture, coils wrapping around the breach, merging seamlessly with silver threads to form a perfect shield. For a heartbeat, time seemed suspended. The chamber quivered, shadows pulsed, sparks danced, and the carvings glowed with radiant intensity. Then, as if recognizing an authority beyond its understanding, the intruder recoiled, retreating into the shadows from which it had emerged. Aaron exhaled slowly, tension coiling into awe. It held. Alive, responsive, protective, beyond anything I've ever seen. Make side beyond anything I've ever seen. Mira's eyes shimmered with tears. Only him, only the child, only Leo could do this. Leo's small hands rested lightly on the lattice, shadow coiling beneath him, Leviathan tense but calm. His voice, soft and unwavering, carried the finality of victory yet the humility of understanding. The bond is unbroken. Fear cannot fracture it. Together, always together. Reason the mana, we affray. Reason the mana, we affrader, we affrader, we affrader. The chamber trembled gently, settling. Sparks flickered softly, shadows pulsed faintly, and the carvings glowed dimmed to a steady hum, resonating with the child's presence. Aaron whispered, awe and reverence entwined. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Alive, protective, responsive, beyond control. Only him. Mira nodded, voice barely audible. Only him. The child who cannot hear, yet guides everything. Only Leo. Outside, shadows lingered, observing, calculating. Inside, the chamber pulsed, alive, responsive, unbroken. The intruders had revealed their nature adaptive, relentless, calculating, but the bond had proven stronger, alive, and unyielding. The storm outside the chamber subsided slightly, though tension still lingered. Within, the bond throbbed with life, an unspoken testament to trust, unity, and understanding. And for the first time, Aaron and Mira understood the full scope of what it meant. Not command, not control, but connection, an understanding so deep that even the most relentless force could be guided, protected, and held at bay.